What's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back once again. Another Thursday in your living room, in your ears, in your car, wherever the fuck you're listening to or watching this. Uh, Episode 38. Always with my resident homies, my fucking brothers in this shit for the last 9, almost 10 months or whatever we've been doing this. Casey, Joel, and Joseph. And today we brought another Canadian, Montreal's Phil from First Fragment. What's going on, dude?
Hey man, how's it going? I'm pretty good myself.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for giving us. I always feel, it's like we try and get these things early enough to where you guys who are, in different time zones that we can try and link up, and it's just like I'm so grateful because if I was a dude who had to go on at 10 p.m. my time on a weeknight, I'd be like, fuck, dude. And then they're going to hit me with 3 hours or whatever of talking. It's like, God damn. But thank you so much, dude. Thank you very much.
Oh, no worries, man. It's my pleasure.
Hell yeah, dude. So, yeah, this is something that we usually do. We like to do the history. So it's like, how old are you? When did you start getting into metal? All that type of shit, dude. We want to just break it open.
Juicy details. All right.
Yeah,
right.
break it all open.
Before we do that, we should kind of mention the new album coming out, the plugin.
Oh yeah. Sorry, dude. Plugs, all that stuff too for merch. Like, where can we find First Fragment merch and news and all that kind of shit?
Well, we have a new album coming out on October 29. It's called Gloire Éternelle, and you'll find all the pre-orders on Indie Merch and Impericon. All, if you want flags or vinyl, CDs, merch, everything, even beanies, man, we got them. So just treat yourself.
Oh, yeah. I was really, really impressed with the artwork on the album. Can you speak to that for just a second? Who did the art?
Adam Burke. It was my second time working with him. It was a very difficult task. He's very busy because he's very talented, and so talent equals more demand. He worked very hard to capture the feel we wanted, and speechless. We were speechless when we first saw the painting, and the fact that it was I worked with him before, like I said, with another band. It felt natural for me to go back to him because he kind of understands the ideas I always want to portray on a painting and in relation to the music. So it was just like natural. But like I said, he's it's actually, I don't want to sound sorry. When I have it lapse like that, when my English starts trailing off, you can maybe cut that. But I was gonna say, let me start over.
It's all good, dude. No worries.
Adam is he's just fantastic. He surprises me he doesn't charge more because of the quality of his work.
Yeah.
But it's incredible, and I think the overall vibe of the music really fits like the palette of the colors. I kind of associate colors with sounds, so the choice of colors was really something interesting and like important for us to it's like these colors have to be there in that specific part of the painting because the music goes along with that.
Yeah. Cool. No, I think he did an amazing job. It's like probably my favorite album art I've ever seen on a death metal album. I was immediately like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is what I want for my stuff. Like, I got to get in touch with this guy. That was like my first thought. So yeah, man.
Yeah, do it, man. Like, contact him. He's, like I said, he has a heavy workload, but he's super easy to work with. So
awesome.
Well, totally do that.
He's got the workload for a reason. The guy's
exactly. For a good reason, man.
Definitely. That's awesome. That new sample track is insane, man. Really good. It's like, to me, I described it immediately as like, I got like a Jason Becker almost feeling, like mixed with like death metal and like all kinds of just epic, man. It's like I feel like you're going balls to the wall in this next one, man, with the shred.
Yeah. That song, it's funny because it wasn't even on the album. When we finished writing the album, we started recording, And at one point I'm like, there's on vinyl, side B of the vinyl, there's like extra space there. We should put a song in. We're like, oh, should we re-record a song from the EP? And it's like, no. And like after that's like, oh, maybe we should. And we were like in a dilemma. And eventually I was like, oh, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna just write a song. I just wrote it like in a day. And I recorded it the next day, and I presented it to the guys like, oh shit, this song's great. Let's put it in the album, man. Turns out it's the first single we put out. It's crazy, man. Awesome. It's just like out of the blue, totally like written as like in a single day, and the next day recorded. And like the guitars were already recorded for the entire album almost, but then this song came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go back just to record that song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love how those happen with everybody. I think that I know have had one point who composes and writes music, something just fell into their lap that day. Exactly. Wherever it may have come from, it's just there now. And sometimes you'll for the next song you do, it may take months, but for some reason, the way things aligned, something falls into your lap, and you actually take the opportunity to make it real. It like somehow something just comes into us like we're a fucking satellite dish, and whether or not you can actually drop it into a hard drive and use it or let it just disappear. But it's like those beautiful things that happen for an artist where it's just for some reason everything aligns and you grabbed it and you got it. And that's fucking cool, dude. For the song like that, I mean,
those are usually the most, like, there's always something really I don't know, there's something magical about when you like end up with a song that just like it hits you like a truck out of nowhere, and you write it in one single day. There's always something magical about the type of song when you write it. And I think I remember how it hit me. I was actually doing something unrelated to music. I think I was doing yard work actually, and I was listening to Port Royal by a German band called Running Wild. And I don't know, one riff kind of stuck in my head, and I came back to my guitar, and I kind of like borrowed an idea from it, and I kind of just formed a song from there. So I took like an inspiration from a band that has nothing to do with extreme metal or neoclassical metal. Running Wild's a power metal band, but they don't have a neoclassical flair. But they somehow kind of inspired me to come up with the song, and I obviously combined it with other things. This whole this whole like gallop riff before the solo, like a swing riff. That's like this type of thing comes from I'm a big fan of Joey Tafola. He's one of my favorite guitarists of all time. His first album is like neoclassical, but his second album, Infra Blue, has like these crazy swing grooves. And for me, that album is like kind of a Bible for like swing grooves, and like that's why I literally put swing grooves everywhere on the albums. Like just listening to Infra Blue and Greg Howe, and just has to have like these grooves, and just basically instead of playing these riffs in the blues scale, I just put in harmonic minor and throw in like a elegy type of chord progression underneath it. And that's the thing, man, with our songs, there's a bunch of stuff going on at the same time, but like a lot of counterpoint, but the progressions underneath, man, they're all like Mom's Theme chord progressions, or even Iron Maiden chord progressions. It's like it just follows like a simple bass line, and we kind of just construct a song from there. So that's like a small glimpse of how that song came to be. Nice. Just like out of nowhere, just a mix of a blend of different things.
So you're mentioning a bunch of artists and stuff that like influenced you. So going from, I mean, what did you start with? When like what was like an artist, if you take it back to the beginning, like what was like a guitarist that just made you pick up the guitar?
Well, I started playing I'm 29. I started when I was 10, but guitar was not a natural born gift for me at all. I sucked for like 3 years. I'm not kidding. I played punk. Punk really made me want to pick the guitar up. Just playing, punk stuff for 3 years, and it was fun, but I sucked. I was not good, and I didn't have a lot of motivation back then. But going to see Judas Priest, my first metal show, that kind of changed everything for me. I kind of just decided, okay, well, punk is still great, but let's take things to another level. And I just started listening to Judas Priest and Iron Maiden. My father is a big reason for that. My father and my two uncles are partly responsible for the existence of heavy metal in Quebec. So in 79, there were I don't think any heavy metal bands existing in 79, but they formed their band and they straight up came out of the gate saying we're playing heavy metal. That was before Voivod. Voivod obviously arrived a few years later. He got super big, but DDT, that's the name of the band, they already had a bunch of demos out. And throughout the 80s, they released a bunch of stuff, EP in 84. Then they did an album, but it was released because of as a demo because of the lack of labels interested. The heavy metal was dying. But like they always had this passion for heavy metal even after the band died. And, he showed me bands he used to listen to that his band DDT drew inspiration from, and the bands I just mentioned were part of that. Speaking of which, by the way, myself and the drummer of First Fragment, we are part of the DDT reunion lineup, and we did a live DVD of that, like total true Hades heavy metal, but like taking like in a modern context, like we did the live DVD with the like that was sick. That was just a side note, but like so cool. I come from like a really like a family of musicians where like my father and my uncles were part of the heavy metal scene back then. On my mother's side, my granduncles, some of them were classical music teachers. Actually, one of them actually taught Daniel Mongrain, the guitarist from Martyr, like at school, a music school, college.
Sick.
So it's a really small world. Everyone in Quebec knows each other, but like coming back to my original point, I was exposed to heavy metal, through the right people in the right way. Just my father throwing on some like Judas Priest live concert in 82. That live DVD I've watched like 50 times. I was like, I want to be like these guys, and so I really, the following few years, I was just into heavy metal, like power metal, heavy metal, anything that had death metal vocals and blast beats. For me, I was like, oh, that's false metal. I don't like it, like really like young teenager mentality that I had back then. And I was really into like the guitars from Judas Priest and all these bands, the English bands. But then I discovered a guitarist by the name of Yngwie Malmsteen when I was very young, and I threw me on my ass. I was like, what is this? Like, it's like I want to sound like that. And then I discovered Racer X and Cacophony. Like I was like 15. I was like super young. I was very like, I've never heard anything like that. I was just wow, and so that was those were my like early influences, I guess, and they're still my influences today. But I kind of started from there, and the reason how First Fragment, like the way First Fragment came to be, was kind of an accident, kind of a weird situation. Because I had some cover bands. I actually did some tours with cover bands when I was 14 and 15. That's actually I did that with one of my best friends, childhood friends. We did have a punk band before, but then we did these cover bands together. He would join First Fragment later years, but I'll come back to this later.
Covering the 80s metal stuff still?
Pardon?
Were you covering like the 80s metal stuff still?
Well, it was we were doing Rush covers, Iron Maiden covers, so not fully 80s metal, strictly 80s metal, but there was a little bit of everything. So when we did these two little tours, it was like a summer camp where you kids come in and kind of form bands with other kids they've never met, and they have to create a set list of 4 or 5 songs, covers and whatnot, and you have to play a series of shows across camps in Quebec. So that was my first touring experience, and after that I was like, I'm ready to go to do something else. I'm not sure what I'm just like, it's like I want to make a power metal band, whatever. But like everyone in Quebec, like that was in 2007, and everyone was starting, like extreme metal was becoming really like it's always been there in Quebec, obviously, but everyone in my entourage, like my friends, were getting into that, and I was still stuck to the old bands. And I was like, well, I'm never gonna find a band like the way I want. So I gotta, get out of my comfort zone, And out of random, my mother one day comes home and says, there's this guy at a gas station. He's looking for a guitarist. I was like, okay. and he's like, well, he says that, she hands me a piece of paper and there's like a bunch of death metal bands name on them. It's like, he said to give you this piece of paper because he's looking for a guitarist that plays neoclassical stuff, but he wants to put that in a death metal context. His name was Gabriel Beaupilon. That's the co-founder of First Fragment. Wow. So my mother met my bandmate at a gas station, and
she was your matchmaker for your band.
Pretty much, yeah.
It was like your, I don't know, scout or something.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. So, like I was slowly starting to get into death metal by that time. Like I finally, was opening my mind. Like I heard Chapel of Ghouls by Morbid Angel. I was like, this is good. This is actually great. And like when I looked up the bands he had written on a piece of paper, there's like two names that really stuck out the most. It was Cryptopsy and Swan Opposition. Basically what he did is he wrote his influences and he wanted to give that to my mother, so my mother would give me that piece of paper so I could listen to the bands and see if I could, I'd be interested. And I was like, this is interesting. So I decided to go meet him at the gas station. I know it sounds like a really boring story, but
no, dude, I was going to say, so is he like a clerk? Is he like a cashier at the gas station? Is he working in the?
Yeah. And okay. I show up at there. Like I had a weird sense of fashion back then. I was wearing all leather, jacket and leather pants. And he sees this young 15-year-old kid covered in leather. He's 23 years old and he has that short haircut, a death metal shirt. And we don't look like we belong in the same, we wouldn't look like we belong in the same band. But he's like, oh, so you're the guy that girl told me about. It's like, yeah, so you're the guy looking for a lead guitarist. I was like, I'm not really into death metal, but I'm slowly getting into it. But apparently you're looking for neoclassical stuff. And I'm like, I'm into these type of bands. And so we went from there. Basically, he had a bunch of songs written, a bunch of song ideas, and he kind of sent them to me. And it was beyond my playing ability. That guy was already, Gabriel is so when we started First Fragment, he already had 30 songs written. And that was just that was just for First Fragment. He had this other band called Senseless Shell, which I'll get into later, which had 70 songs or something like that. Okay, Gabriel is he was doing the whole Quebec tech thing before, years before Beneath the Massacre and Beyond Creation were around. He's honestly he's a pioneer as far as I'm concerned. He's just low profile, but so basically we jammed over the songs, even though it was beyond my playing ability. But every time we jammed, our first jam went on for 8 hours. We jammed in my living room with a drum machine and just us with our little amps, and the songs were already fully formed, and I was just eventually I started catching on, because even though I went from literally listening to Morbid Angel and then trying to get into the whole super technical stuff in a matter of months. I had to really work my way, on that. It was a really brutal change, and especially that the guy is much older than me and much more experienced when it comes to writing this stuff is super intimidating. But after that, I got used to it, and that was when his brother David, who is our vocalist, still in the band after all those years, he came into the picture, and that was the core of the band for a while. We went from there,
So you said you were getting into death metal, but you weren't really like solid with it. But
no,
so
I just went,
this band is what pushed you over the edge to get into death metal? Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, well, it wasn't like my first death metal band. I joined so many other bands like soon after, but that was really the first one that really kind of made me kind of just step outside of my comfort zone and just, oh, I gotta play riffs like these now. And oh, the tremolo picking, that's a new thing. And like all these tapping and stuff is like, okay, so it's just like I just like rush straight into it, and during that period, it's like I was exposed to so many bands and like that I discovered by myself, and people were showing me. And David and Gabriel had this other band called Shell that I mentioned before, and that was interesting. David was the drummer of the band, and they did a show. And when I heard the performance, it was extreme, like much more extreme than the first Fragment stuff we were doing. And after the show, I was like, why don't you? I was asking Gabriel, why isn't like First Fragment and Senseless Shell the same band? It's like the same kind of songwriting, but one band is way more extreme than the other. And it's like, oh, I want First Fragment to be a little softer. And I was like, okay, because First Fragment, when we started, it was the band had kind of an identity crisis when it came to the style. There was some really fast technical stuff, and there was some really slow, well, not slow, but mid-paced, almost like delicate riffs. It's good, but it didn't sound anything like the First Fragment we know today. So there was an identity crisis. At the same time, I hear this other band which has really crazy songs, and I'm like, And then what happened is that Senseless Shell band, they parted ways with the other guitarist, and Gabriel asked me to join that band too. So we had the same lineup for two bands. At some point we decided, okay, let's just fuse two bands together. It doesn't make sense. So all the really extreme stuff from that other band fused with First Fragment to become just this one entity. And this is where, the sound, started to make more sense. We did our first demo in 2008. We recorded 7 tracks, released 4 in the fall. That was my first recording. We recorded that in my guitar teacher's place. And we released those 4 songs with the 3 others we didn't release in 2009. And that was the only reason why we did that, is because we were looking for a drummer. And this is where, like, that was the curse of the band. For the first 3 years, from 2007 to 2010, we did not have a drummer. And we released demos with a drum machine because we were like, this is how we sound like. We need a drummer. Please play with us. And people like on MySpace, that was MySpace at the time, like people were like really like sharing our stuff, like, this is crazy, listen to that. But no drummer, just nothing. And it's like, okay, well, I think people probably we should do something a little bit more serious, so people we're serious. These demos are they sound very raw, and we should have a little bit of a better production to kind of show what we can do as composers and musicians. So this is where we decided we're going to take the 3 best songs from the demos, and we're gonna mix that with 3 other songs. And those 3 other songs, those were my first time taking part of the composition process of First Fragment, because like I said, Gabriel had a library of songs ready on, and we scrapped like 70 or 80% of all the songs from a certain point, because we really found the direction we were going with. But like that was like that EP, we recorded that in the end of 2009. I think I was 18 at the time. That EP is you've probably heard the name before. It's called The Afterthought Ecstasy. That was our first real release. Just re-recording 3 demo songs and those 3 new songs that I mentioned that had more of a more like extreme approach, and that kind of solidified the rest. we still couldn't find a drummer during the process of like recording that EP. So we'd say, okay, well, this is going to be another drum machine release, but whatever, let's just put it out and hopefully we find a drummer with that release. And ironically, we did find a drummer. After their EP was done, just like months after, we just like randomly, a guy messaged me on MySpace saying he wanted to play drums for us, and that's Phil Boucher. Phil Boucher is the current drummer of Beyond Creation, but before he was in Beyond Creation, he was in First Fragment, and we just hit it off immediately. He was like the right fit, and it's like, okay, well, still gonna release the EP how it is right now, but we're gonna write an album with you, and then Vincent, the guy I did the musical camp with a few years before he joined the band. So I had my childhood friend join on bass, and that was like the first true lineup of First Fragment. From mid 2010 to 2014, we did like we did a bunch of shows. Our first show was in 2011. So like almost 4 years after we formed, but like, these things take time, man. It's a long process. And those were our first shows. And that's where I started like becoming like, like I said, when I discovered death metal, it was with Morbid Angel. I was thrown into the whole tech death thing by Gabriel, but I kind of continued on listening to bands like Morbid Angel, and this is where my other main band Catilis came in. I started another band with the drummer of First Fragment, Catilis, which is more like a very different kind of death metal from First Fragment, very dark, very like swampy kind of thing, really down tune, like really cavernous vocals. A lot of people compared us to like the old Finnish bands of the 90s. It was like a completely different thing. So at the time, I was kind of launching myself into new bands. I started doing stuff with Cirox, the band from Mexico. So joining a lot of bands while at the same time continuing on First Fragment. So it kind of brought new like dynamics into the band. Just like working with different musicians on the side kind of gave me new ideas. And this is where I started like writing full songs for the band. Actually, that was in 2010. So the EP wasn't even finished. Actually, it was finished. I mean, it was not even released because it took like a year to release from the time we finished recording it. But before even released, I actually wrote all the songs that I wrote for our 2016 album Dasein. So the opening track, Le Serment de Sion, the instrumental song L'Entité, Goula. I think that song seems to be really, I guess, popular with people into the band. And Evran and the instrumental classical song, all these songs I wrote in that period when I was like super young. And we kind of just decided, okay, these songs, we're releasing an EP, but these songs are going to be on the next album, whenever it is. And that was like, that kind of established the next like direct, like musical direction of the band. And the songs were becoming more neoclassical, more varied, and with like, at the same time playing with all sorts of bands from everywhere at the same time. It kind of made a really interesting melting pot of influences. And so we did shows until 2012, and we decided to start recording the album Dasein in 2013. But then, man, that's where like we got really unlucky. Mathieu from Augury, who was recording us, he got his computer stolen. That, it wasn't that bad in the sense that he had backups of his files, but the recording process itself was halted for a while because of that, because, he doesn't have a computer to work with. And then Phil drummer was approached by Beyond Creation, and he's like, well, I'm going to keep doing Catilis with you, Phil, but for Fragment, I can't be into like tech death bands who are like really like pushing hard, all at the same time in different directions. So he made the hard decision to leave for Fragment for Beyond Creation. And honestly, that was a great move because the band, because like First Fragment is like it's always been kind of a cursed band in a way, but you know, we always kind of had like the motivation to keep, you know, going, you know, whatever it took, you know. We recorded the album, and by the time we were done, like with the basic tracks, it's like we don't have a drummer. We still, like, Phil is gone, and no one is gonna play with us like back then. So
yeah.
So we were like, what are we gonna do? And we came to the conclusion that we had to find a drummer elsewhere. And you know, Gabriel and I, we don't have the same musical taste at all. Like, we share a few, like, we're both into Spawn Opposition, or like we were heavily into Severed Savior too. Like, we have a few bands in common, but like my musical background is not the same as his. So our tastes did not match except for a few bands. One of them was Severed Savior. And we were big fans of the band. It's like, what if we asked the guy from Severed Savior to play drums on with us? And we're like, this is crazy. It's never gonna work. He's from the US. I was like, well, we could still ask him, you know. And we did, and he's like, yeah, I want to play with you guys. And we're like, damn. All right, well, we're gonna do that. We don't have the money, but we're still gonna do it, you know. And we kind of used that as a, like, we didn't have a label, but you know, Severed Savior had worked with Unique Leader before, and I was like, hey, Eric, we had the guy from Severed Savior with us. Here's our EP. We're gonna do an album that's better than the EP with the guy from Severed Savior. Do you want to sign us? And he's like, yeah. It's like, cool. And it's like, that's how we got, like, oh, well, we got like a label that's gonna help us with the budget to cover like or the production expenses and the drummer expenses. Because Troy, you know, I love Troy. He's so cool. He's amazing drummer, but like, he's an amazing human being. He's just like, he wasn't gonna like charge us an arm and a feet, you know. He's just gonna say, you know, he's just gonna take a small cut, and like the money is gonna go into like the recording fees. And he's super like he's super laid back and stuff. So it's like, of course we're gonna give you like an extra, you know. So we want to get some as much budget as possible. And working with him was so fun, man. It's just like super easy. Because, you know, Gabriel wrote half the album, I wrote the other half. And the way we do it is, you know, we write all the instruments, and everyone kind of writes around the skeleton of the song from that. And Troy, you know, he was totally fine with that approach. He kept some of our ideas, and then he threw his ideas into the mix. And there's like a mix of like his ideas and ours. Just like it was perfect, you know.
It's
perfect
the exact
match.
Same approach that he took when you're telling me the story right now. It's like so crazy how similar the Carnivorous deal was. It's like, we should get the guy from Severed Savior to play drums on it. And we're like, is he really gonna be down, you know? And then we just hit him with it, and he's like, oh yeah, dude, totally. Like, I'll jam out. And then it was the same thing, that whole process of getting there. And then here's our ideas, and then Troy puts his flair on there, and you end up in a band with Troy from Severed Savior. And
that's awesome, man.
And so that feeling you got as well. And obviously you got him later on down the road after so this album came out after Servile, right?
Yeah. So Dasein was like recorded in 2013, but we found Troy much later. So we recorded in 2014, but then we had to record more stuff in 2015. And the album came out like almost 3 years after it was recorded. It's kind of nuts. But part of the reason is because we didn't have a drummer, and you know, Troy came in, he kind of saved our asses pretty much, because like the album was like on a definite hiatus for a while.
I was like listening to it today in my car and like the last week and stuff, and I was going to work, and I was just like, I knew that he had done the album before, and I forgot. And I was like, God damn, who's that drummer, dude? Like, the guy's so good. But I didn't have time to look it up. And I'm like, oh, it's Troy. Like,
yeah, Troy,
cool.
Man.
That's a shout out to Troy about, like, you know, when we talk about Carnivorous and stuff. Like, how he was just down, like he's down to help out. He's down, like that's just a testament to who Troy is. That's a you know, to going to Carnivorous, because Carnivorous was no band. It was like a couple kids and Anthony smacking a drum machine. That was like what it was. And Troy's just like,
I mean, we were already hanging out with them and shit. Like they were already our homies and stuff because of the pound. But it was we were being inspired and we're writing a bunch of, you know, he's talking about cutting a bunch of songs. There's tons of Carnivorous songs that never got recorded because they were garbage. But we had, you know, a handful of songs to where we could, and Troy saying yes. And then Dan and I finally got the feeling of like playing death metal with just all humans and no drum machine bullshit where I'm sitting in my lap. Dan's got to wait like fucking 3 minutes for me to program this fucking beat that I got to figure out to put here. And it's just like, now the humans there behind the kit. Now we can just talk, you know, express our ideas and just watch it happen. So that's I'll always, I mean, the Severed Savior guys, all of them, dude, they took us under our wing and really showed us the ropes, you know. So, and that was Troy's version of it, was giving us the feel of playing with a real fucking death metal drummer, dude. And I'm very grateful.
Did he record the drums in California, or did he come out to Montreal?
No, he well, see, Gabriel and I, we were very fond of Servile Insurrection, and we love how the drums are, you know, they sound but also assembled and perform. It's like we want the same kind of same sound, similar like tones and everything. And you know, it's like, and we, you know, we brainstorm on it with Troy, and Troy's like, well, I could just record with Zach.
Oh, and that's Zach
right. Oren at Kessel Ultimate, and that's what we did basically, and turned out amazing, man. Super glad we did that.
Definitely did, yeah. Cool.
Zach's the guy to go to for drums, dude, for sure.
Well, yeah, and it's such an unlikely choice for a Montreal band, because it's like, you know, no one in Longueuil or Montreal wants to play with us because they probably like the material, but it's like it's probably not their style of drumming, you know. And they're probably not into playing that stuff, even if they like listening to it. So it's like, well, we got to find somebody else outside, you know. We have no choice, and that's what we did. And like working with him was like, there's this part that's like we like listen to that drum machine. Here's the reference, or some parts was like disregard the drum machine. Pretend this is a Hades power metal band. Just like no like origin, like no specific attitude, just like the feel. It's like, oh, I want this endings of a song to sound like a nocturnal song with like solos and like cymbal washes and shit. So just like explaining to him vague concepts in words, he still got it as much as just like writing out methodical arrangements. So
yeah,
or bolder approaches to like when expressing musical ideas. He understood them, you know. So that was just fantastic. And like I said, there was a lot of delays, you know. There were problems with the layout at one point. There was some things that happened. I won't get into it too much, but there was a long delay from the first day we recorded versus the release day. But when we did, it was like such a big relief for us. And it got really, we didn't expect that reaction when it got out, you know. It's just like some people in Quebec, like people here kind of, for some reason, they kind of were slow reaction here. But everywhere else, it's like every day, it's like, come to the US, come to the US, come to Europe. And it's like, well, that's crazy, man. I was like, especially for like a band like from Longueuil, a bunch of like a random suburb on the south shore of Montreal. It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed like your sound is definitely, I mean, the Montreal metal scene is huge. Like for us Americans, like we fucking, I mean, so many bands that we just, you know, Warship come out of, and they just all of a sudden exploded with this like tech death, like, you know, like humongous thing. I could tell that there's definitely like a pretty, pretty what's the, I don't know the word, kind of elitist scene out there about how people's opinions and stuff are. They're kind of like, oh, like you better be good. Like I kind of got that a little bit from that scene. I definitely, you guys definitely stand on your own there. I mean, as far as your style, it's not like, I mean, a lot of the bands there are really unique, like, you know, like Augury and stuff like that, and Beyond Creation and stuff that all kind of like have their own flavor and stuff to it. But the neoclassical thing wasn't really a thing like being thrown into death metal in Montreal. It seems like you guys were the guys kind of starting off and doing that. And I also, from what you're telling me, it seems like there was a lot of guitar players there, right? In Montreal, there's like a lot of guitar and bass players. It seemed like there wasn't many drummers coming out of Montreal. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, pretty much fair to say. I mean, there's tons of talented drummers, but talented drummers that are not necessarily interested in playing that style of music because, like I said, it's very demanding and they probably possess the skills, but maybe not the patience. So
yeah,
I don't blame them, but at the same time, it's like it was kind of frustrating. You know, we had another drummer, but like it took a while. You know, it's a complicated process, especially with this type of music and the really like quirky mix of influences. It's like, it sounds like you'll see, especially with the new album coming out, but the more time passes, the more, you know, like I'm kind of ready to drop the whole death metal tag because it's like the riffs, like there's blast beats and growls, that's death metal, right? But the riffs for me, like my main influence for Fragment is Elegy. It's a power metal band from the Netherlands, not death metal, you know. Apocrypha from the US, not death metal. You know, bunch of like obscure power metal bands that I basically really listen to, and just it motivates me to write this style of music, but it's not death metal. So the tech death tag is still valid because like a dissociation with the scene and like the surface elements, but underneath it's not like Savior or just Mortem that, you know, it's very modern and technical sounding, but there's still roots in death metal. And this is where my whole like background, like, you know, like starting with old school death metal, but then going into tech death, it's like, you know, in death metal, there's two scenes in parallel. Have you noticed? Like people who are into Arcspire will not go to a Grave Miasma show, and people into the Chasm will not go into a Arcspire show. It's like there's like the whole like purist death metal scene, you know, and the modern technical scene is. And nowadays, both scenes are kind of like distinct and kind of running parallels. And for me, growing into those like two kind of similar but different worlds, it's like I kind of see the distinction now, and this is why I kind of just, you know, growing up listening to bands like Bolthrower and Demilich, and you know, it's like my idea of death metal at its roots is that it's really evil sounding music, really like, you know, just you feel death when you listen to it. And for Fragment, you don't feel that, you know.
So what would you said that
you see a bunch of like flashy colors, and it's like Baroque atmosphere, but it's not purely death metal. So for me, like I decided I want to take Fragment further in the directions. Like we're gonna get more neoclassical, more swing grooves, you know, and everything. And not everyone in the band was into that, you know. That's one thing that happened.
When you talk
sorry, you were gonna say something?
I was gonna say like you said you were gonna drop the death metal thing. What would you label it as?
Just extreme neoclassical metal, or neoclassical metal with blast beats and growls, you know. Blast beats and growls, it's death metal, but for me to be like death metal, it has to have like that like evil crushing atmosphere, you know.
We got to make it simple, though. It's got to be like
you feel like you're rotting when you're listening to it, you know. So it's like for Fragment, it's not that.
Power
so
death, dude.
I'm gonna call you Power Death now. I'm gonna call you guys Power Death.
Yeah, that works. I mean, maybe less for Dasein, but for a new album, it's definitely like very close to that. Like there's literally riffs on the new album. Like you've heard of Glitz on Pentium, but like it's really like that. It's literally power metal riffs, but extreme with power metal corporations, and then like 280 blast beats and growls over it, you know. So this is like our niche right now, you know. And Dasein, you already on the 2016 album Dasein, you already see glimpses of that, But then there's the Gabriel songs that have much, like for example, the song Archetype, that has a definite death metal edge, you know. Like it's darker sounding. And Gabriel, his songs were starting to feel like they were like, you know, you take that album, what's the album before Portals of Canon to Canon
of What's to Come.
Of What's to Come.
Yeah, so his new songs after Dasein, they was like that, but 10 times more technical. Like, I'm not kidding. It's just like, it was the most ridiculous technical stuff ever. It was really good, but it was like we were not like, there was not like a huge conflict. We were just like, we really want to push the neoclassical stuff and have complex songs that are still and that translate, you know, well in a live setting with like the swing grooves and the epic solos. You know, people like, you bring that really like 80s like energy, but in a modern metal setting, you know. And Gabriel is like, I'm not feeling that, you know. And Gabriel also had his career going, so Gabriel decided, you know, I'm gonna make a side project that, yeah, I want you, Phil, to be part of, and Dave, and etc. But, you know, I'm gonna take a step back, focus on my own career, and, you know, and continue working on my own stuff. So that was when he left the band. Like a few months after the release of Dasein, we did a few shows to promote the album, and then he left. And then Vincent left, our bass player, because he was also the whole like extreme neoclassical thing. He was like, you know, I'm more into progressive rock these days, and he wanted to focus on his progressive rock band. And so it was a very friendly departure for both Gabriel and Vincent. Vincent did a guest bass solo on our new album, and Gabriel, we used 2 of his songs on our new album. So we're always been like a really, always had a very close relationship between all the ex-members of the band, you know. Nice. So that was great. You know, the band, after promoting the album, we suffered a huge loss, but it was not a bitter loss, because immediately after we found Nick Miller, an amazing guitar player from Kilitaurus, and we found Dominique Forest Lapointe. You know him. He played in Augury, played in Beyond Creation.
Oh yeah, Forest.
He was a fan of the band, you know, for a while. And I met him in 2009 with my old band Salvation. Salvation played a show with Augury in 2009. That's where I met all the guys from Augury, and we stayed friends since then. And he just came back into my life. And he's like, I love your band, man. And he's like, you know what? I'm actually looking for a bass player. It's funny you message me, you know. And you know, obviously, I was recommended by people in the band that we approached Forest, because Vincent did such an insane job on the Dasein album. That's like, only Forest and the Montreal scene can really like play that kind of thing. So people are like, you should contact Forest. I'm like, I'm not sure. And Forest actually came to me himself, like, as a weird coincidence. And it was weird though, because when he joined, we had a tour coming, but he was busy at the same time. So the moment he joined, he couldn't go on tour. So we did a tour without a bass. It was kind of weird. It was a fun tour though. Don't get me wrong. It was a fun tour. We did that with Kronos from France. I love these guys. I love these guys.
It's one of my favorite bands.
So cool. Yeah. They're a great band, but like, you
Colossal Titan Strife.
That was a big deal.
We got to play a show with them in Germany.
That was a frequent on the blasting through the Thunderdomes for sure.
Yeah, definitely was. That was a life-changing album, Colossal Titan Strife. That was still to this day. Even, I mean, you wouldn't say I listened to it kind of recently, and the production isn't like mind-blowing, but it's just the way it comes through is so aggressive and raw. It's so good.
And they're fantastic guys to tour with, man. You know, and when we came to Europe, we came to France, they were there. So that's, you know, we stayed good friends, you know, and I hope I hope they reform, because I want to tour with them again. But but yeah, coming back to, you know, we come back from the tour, and then we announced that Forrest and Nick are in the band. It's like, everyone is like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was like that too.
And I'm like, at this point, we're like, and by the way, I'm disappointed in my career when I'm even in even more bands. You know, there was Cthulist going on, and there was my other main band at Trementus, which is like a totally polar opposite of First Fragment. It's like slow, painfully slow funeral doom music. So I was like doing different styles of music, and I also joined a power metal band with Hans Grossman and Christian Musner.
Oh yeah.
So I was doing a lot of like really crazy shit. And
what was that? What was that band? Was that the Hannes Grossman band? Was it that one, or was
no? It's called Eternity's End. So it's like really, it's like a mix of like German power metal and a bunch of other influences and neoclassical stuff, and like really all-star lineup. There was the guy from Symphony X in there. Cool. There was vocalist of Vibria. We did a really killer album in 2018, but the point was I was getting into like crazy bands of all other styles, and I was like, I'm like bringing even more new influences into First Fragment because I'm playing these other styles with other bands and other people. But like at this point, I'm like, how can I can play with these bands and make First Fragment still relevant to me, in the fact that I'm writing for this band full time now because Gabriel is gone, and how can I bring that band to the next level that it stands tall alongside the other things I'm doing, because I want to have a really I want to pull out like really quality albums one after the other. And it's like, what, I think we're gonna like Forrest is in the band now, we're gonna take the band to the next level. We're gonna make the craziest bass oriented album ever. And it's like we're gonna put like bass solos in every song and have the craziest bass lines in this style that the genre has like ever seen. Sounds pretentious and it's probably not true. You'll be the judge of that, but I think Forrest probably did one of the craziest bass performances I've ever heard in any genre of metal. It's that song we did is not even like that's the tip of the iceberg. Okay, he's just crazy. So we were at that point. It's like we have Forrest. Let's like bring his energy into the band and just create something monstrous. And that took a while, man. There were some songs that I had from way back then, but like we really like took our time, right? Like putting these songs together. And then we did a tour in 2019 in Europe, and seeing people like meeting us at shows like, I've been listening to you guys since 2010. It's like, I love you guys. I'm like, wow, damn. It's like some in German, and like they were like half speaking in German, half speaking in English. I'm like, these people from like the other side of the world are really passionate about the music more than Obscura. Like some shows we literally had more people at our merch table than the headliner. I'm not joking. And Obscura is a way better band than us, but like just like the enthusiasm for people, it was like we didn't expect that. Yeah. So that really gave us like a more extra confidence, into like really pushing, like pushing into like our style of music and like expanding upon our influences. And the fact that when Nicholas Wells joined the band on drums, that guy is also like, by the way, a phenomenal drummer and human being on every level. Amazing person, really. And one of the reasons why I wanted him into the band is because not only of his energy and playing, but also because he was fully like, I know I was telling him like, okay, you've heard our stuff, but here's a song that I wrote, and the riffs are not death metal. It's just like, Elegy and Mom's Theme in a blender with blast beats. And he heard the song and he's like, dude, this is one of the coolest songs I've ever heard. I love power metal and extreme death metal. And he was like really like fully behind that idea, So because of that, it's like, I know that's the right guy for us,
Is there other examples of this power death thing? And it's making my ears perk up now. Like, has that been are there other bands that would go under the umbrella of power death or power tech death?
Like neoclassical power death.
Well, power death. I like power death though.
I think we just genred you.
Let me think. Crypt of Kerberos from Sweden. That's actually one of my favorite bands. Okay. They released an album in 1993. Sorry, a band from Sweden, and it sounds like old school Swedish death metal, but then there's a bunch of mom steam solos coming up, and even like clean vocals. First Fragment's never gonna have clean vocals as much. Like I love, like it's my favorite style of vocals personally. I love like old Queensryche stuff and Crimson Glory with the super high vocals. But for First Fragment, we want to keep the growls because this is the aggression. But Crypt of Kerberos literally have power metal vocals. So that would be the first power death metal band. Crystal Age from Sweden, they don't have an overt power metal vibe, but these guys, you can hear it in the music. Actually, the guys form Hammerfall after that. So it's an interesting thing, but there's not a lot, you know. But then you listen, like I keep coming back to this band Elegy because they're our biggest influence. You listen to the 87 demo and 88 demos, and the riffs are like as technical as like today's technical death metal. It's just like you have like the demo tape that you have the tape is and like the sloppy production, but the riffs are literally tech death.
Yeah, spell the name. Dillergy?
Elegy. And
Delugy.
That's Elegy, so ELEGY. And you gotta look up for the 87 demo. All the discography is great. They have some proggy records. They have even some record that kind of flirts with like AOR, like not AOR, but like AOR style hooks, you know, in the vocals. So they kind of have a more like well-rounded sound, but the demos are like, it's insane. Like it's like they took this band from the US called L-Star, which is very close to what we're talking about, really technical power metal, but they took it to another level. And I keep mentioning the demos because they changed the direction for the full length. I don't want to keep talking about them, but the point is there's a lot of like under the radar bands that kind of flirted with like really extreme arrangements that are too extreme for their own respective genre. And that was always what really like inspired me the most, at least for First Fragment. So just taking like nods from these under the radar bands and just like it drives me to like create really like intense music. And I wanted to push in that direction for the new album, just create songs that are memorable as possible with as many quirks as possible. And we decided like, you know, I started writing a song one day. Actually, that's funny. I was listening to Manowar, and this one riff comes in, and like this is a cool chord progression. And guess what? I wrote a 19-minute song out of that chord progression in 2 days. That's the second last song on their album, and that song it's like you have tech death mixed with power metal, mixed with cacophony style guitar solos, mixed with a funeral doom part. Like it drops to a really slow tempo, and there's flamenco parts, there's baroque parts, and there's even a black metal riff at the end. So we really like the album is extremely eclectic. You know, that first song we released was like, oh, we'll just showcase the neoclassical side of the band, but like that album is there's some interesting contrast in there. I think you'll like it. Maybe some parts you'll like less, but you know, whatever.
I'm interested in your writing style, dude, because that's actually the second time you've mentioned just a part of somebody else's song that inspires you to end up making something that is your own, you know? So it's like, I think of Ralph Steedman. He's the guy who did art for Hunter S. Thompson's books and stuff like that. And how he would start a painting would basically just dip his brush and whip his brush at the canvas. And then he'd sit back and look at the splatter. And then he'd pull a fucking sick ass painting out of that splatter. And I mean, it's not exactly the same because you're taking it from you taking something from one artist and it's inspiring you to.
Well, it's very similar, man.
But it is. It's like you need that one splatter to sit back and stare at, so you can expand from it, you know. And it ends up coming out as a First Fragment fucking shred.
Yeah,
you know? Exactly.
Well, music has always been like this when you think about it. You know, you look back at Jimi Hendrix. He borrowed licks from blues musicians. He did his own thing. Then you have guys like Richie Blackmore. He did that approach, but a more classical flair. Then you have Malmsteen, who just took what Blackmore and Hendrix did his own thing. And then from Malmsteen came Tony McAlpine, Vinnie Moore, Joey Tafola, Paul Gilbert. They took what Malmsteen did, they did their own thing, and then influenced the 90s shredders, and who influenced, they took licks from that 80s generation of shred, and then people from the 2000s took note of the guitarists from the 90s and the 80s, and just constant cycle of like inspiration. I'm just there to kind of perpetuate the cycle, just like paying homage to certain of my favorite guitarists and musicians, but adding my own personal touch to it, and it becomes something else entirely after.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, however you are able to be inspired as an artist to get the wheels rolling, or whatever metaphor you want to come up with there, but just to get things started, however that works for you, that's the fucking seed right there. And then you grow that seed from there, because you don't have anywhere to, if that's the way you got to start, and then you end up with something that's yours at the end of it. It's like, who cares where I started? Whatever made this idea happen, or it's so I think that's fucking killer. I mean, I have mad respect for Ralph Steedman. I don't even fucking know how to say his name, but I have mad respect for him, because I that was the first time that I had seen an artist work like that, and he pulls some brilliant shit out of a splatter of paint, so it's like
so cool.
Yeah. And doing that musically, is something that I'm definitely mad respect, dude. Mad respect.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
That's awesome, man. So, I mean, actually, I want to go in real quick into Phil. Like, so we've been like just connected through social media for a long time, but it's funny because I just, I didn't know who you were for the longest time. So I remember like, because I was just gushing over my friend brought over the first Fragment, the demo before the album came out, and I was like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, my friend Richie came over and was like, dude, check out this shredding band. You have to check this out. And we were just listening to like, what the fuck? This is like the most insane shit. And then it just kind of like, I didn't hear anything for a while, and I was like, damn. I was like, even like, I was telling everyone about it and showing it. It was like one of those like gems that you get to show people that no one knows. And they're just oh, Chev, you heard this band? Have you heard this band? And everyone's like, no, what the hell is it? And then when it got like announced that you guys got signed and then you were putting out an album, I was like, fucking finally. I was like so excited.
Told you, bitches.
And I think the reason why I even like figured out that you were in the band is like, you were like, oh yeah, thanks, man. Fuck yeah. Like looking forward to it. I'm like, oh shit, Phil's in the band? I didn't know Phil was in the band. I thought you were just like a guy that knew everything about metal and stuff. I had no idea that like you literally like were in First Fragment. You're like one of the main dudes in First Fragment. I had no clue. And I was like, oh shit, let's because we just like post funny shit back and forth and just like, joke around. It would just be like total comedy, and we'll talk about metal here and there, but like had no clue that you were in First Fragment. Like for the first 2 or 3 years that I heard that demo, I was completely blown away, man. And that demo still, like I threw it on kind of recently and was like, gee, it still holds water to this day of just like, the first thing you guys did is just it just felt like,
oh, you mean like the Afterthought Ecstasy?
It was the purple one. I think it was purple or blue. Yeah.
That's the EP, because the demos.
Okay, there's something before that.
People don't know the demos because they're buried somewhere. You probably maybe find them on the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, I found the one that you're I found the EP on Bandcamp. It was on Bandcamp. Yeah, that's where I would listen to it. It's the only place I could find it. And
Joel, Josephson transcend the realm, right? You didn't.
What's the correlation?
I'm trying to bring in a joke too late, dude, because you were talking about how you were talking to him for like 2 or 3 years before you.
Oh yeah. No, I know. Joseph's in a band too. That Dreamer band that Joseph's like. I told him a million times, but just showed me a demo, and I was like, "What the that Dreamer band?"
That's why I was trying to get that joke, and it was too late. Though,
yeah,
it's like sound like the similar.
It took me
reaction.
A second, but I appreciate the gesture, man. But trying to get me in here with the joke.
I blew it. You can't. You always got to swing for the fences, though, guys.
Yeah,
I will say, either of my bands would. I mean, is First Fragment gonna tour? And if so, like, hypothetical down the road, like one of those dream bands that we would love to play with, just because you guys have the audience that we would want to have and, you know, show our music to as well. So,
oh, dude, that is like, yes, like I'm really flattered. So you want to do a tour together?
Hell
that would
yeah,
be your,
dude.
that would be your like
tour,
dream
dude.
package. Because
that would be, I mean, yeah, you guys would fit on a dream package with us for sure. Along with maybe.
Man. Well, I'm really flattered by that, and I really appreciate it.
Do you guys have touring plans?
Well, there's no offer on the table, so
there's your first offer, dude.
yeah. Sick.
Yeah. I'll put something together.
Touring the US, we had in 2017, we were supposed to tour the US with Velopnat and Vervam, but then we had visa issues, so it didn't pan out. So we decided, we're gonna focus on Europe after, and I kind of have a feeling that we're probably gonna go back to Europe before we go back to the US, just because getting visas can be a hassle, but it's definitely our plans, because people have been wanting to see us in the US for literally a decade, more than that. So it has to be done, it's just like ironically it's easier to go into Europe just because of the visa thing, unless you all play like under the radar, which I did sometimes. I actually have a band called Funebrarum. It's a band from the 90s, actually. Death metal, a 90s death metal band from New Jersey.
Say it again. It's
Funebrarum.
Oh, yeah. They had a label that they were putting shit out too, right? One of the guys in that band had some underground label for a while.
Yeah, Daryl runs Morbid Rat Records.
I met him at Maryland in 2003, dude.
Yeah.
Yep. He was. Bought their first full length or whatever, and he had a distro going too. So I think I grabbed a couple other CDs from him.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan of that band for many years before I joined, and we did the tours and stuff. And whenever the band has a US show, I just go there, and I don't need a visa because I'm just traveling by my own. But like as a full band, it's different, because everyone in Funebrarum's from the US, and it's interesting. It's a small world, right? Especially in the metal scene. Like everyone knows each other. But that band is always lots of fun to play with. It's death metal, but it's completely different from First Fragment. Different vibe.
We snuck into Canada, didn't we? We didn't have a visa for that shit.
No, I mean, I know.
It's statute of limitations, fine, so it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, there was Mike. I mean, someone from a band.
No, not that one. Not that part.
Not that one.
Not to bring up that part. Let's just talk about the odious part, where we were just crew on the Bloodletting tour. That's what they told them at the.
When you're a new band too, they always, I mean, I don't want to tell the secrets, but you're supposed to say, I mean, you do. It is. I'll just say it is for this podcast. Your merch is promotional. It's not for sale. And when you go through, that's, you can go through a few times saying that. I mean, I'm doing that. Sorry. And you can go through doing that. And basically they'll be like, cool. It's cool. That's cool. Like, yeah, sure. Go through. And then like when you go through for the third time, they're like, all right, we researched you. You're selling shit. We're going to count all your merch. And they would like, it's like they would do a full count in and tax you on everything you had. And then they would do a full count out when you're leaving, and then you get the money back that the stuff you didn't sell. It was like, it was just a grueling process. I'm like, Jesus, man.
Isn't that fucked? They're like making sure that they get their money. They tax you on everything before you even sold it, dude. It's
there was times where we didn't. I remember when Decrepit, I think it might have even been Summer Slaughter, where we were just like, they were like, oh, it's going to cost you like $1,500 to get in, or something, $2,000 to get in. And we were just like, for one show, and we're like, we can't.
There was a time we missed like multiple shows up there. We were just in like a hotel in like Spokane, Washington, whatever.
Yeah, okay, that's why
waiting
like Spokane
for the tour to come back, because we couldn't get into Canada. It was like because sometimes it was chill, but that time no.
Yeah, sometimes they just wave you through. There's those every now and then. I remember my favorite.
We got waved through coming back into the States. Remember that took like 10 minutes.
Well,
I mean, every now and then you just get. I remember one time I was traveling with Vile, and with like Erland and everyone in the band at the time, and I was in their van, and they just got waved through, and everyone else got stopped, and I'm like, oh, sorry guys. Like,
yeah,
I remember something like you guys were at the venue way before everyone, right?
Yeah. It's just a hit or miss. It depends on who you get. Sometimes they just look at the passports, and then they all look at you.
I remember being in the like immigration thing with Deeds of Flesh and everybody and Decrepit and all of us, and we're like all in there like
for like 2.5 hours. I think
that was like BC, like right in the
Well, when we bring Cephalic on, I want to talk about it a little bit. But there was a funny incident where Lenzig was it was me and Lenzig sitting in immigration, and this like drug smelling dog kept coming through the fucking kept coming through the lobby to smell everyone, and it kept biting. It kept biting fucking Lindsay. and I was sitting. He's all, "What the fuck, man? What's going on, man?" I'm all, "Dude, you are like one of the biggest."
It comes out of your pores, dude.
I know. I think you're one of the biggest pot smokers in the world. So I mean, you probably just like you're just a big piece of weed, pretty much. Like, and they were ripping off their fucking their bumper. They're like, "We know you're hiding weed in the bumper," and they're like, "No, we're not. Dude, we're not." We've been touring forever. We're not stupid enough
not to have it right
bring
now,
weed across the border.
We're getting it as soon as we get in, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. And they'd always joke about that too. The good cop, bad cop thing. Like the Canada immigration guy would come in and be like, "Oh, whatever. Our stuff's better, right? Ha ha. Like you don't need to bring your stuff over." And I'm like, "Yeah, we're not bringing pot over, dude. I'm not trying to go to a Canadian jail to start off my Canada trip. Like, but yeah, no, those border was just kind of a flip of a coin. They basically were, you never really knew what you're going to get. It could be smooth sailing or
came back into the States super fucking baked, all of us.
Yeah.
And the only thing they tripped on was your Canadian cigarettes. You had Canadian cigarettes.
Oh, okay.
Dude.
I don't even remember that.
But they're way chiller on the east side.
Interrogated you about your Canadian cigarettes, and I'm like, dude, we're
on the east side. We had someone
high as a motherfucker, and that's what you're tripping on.
On the east side, we had someone in one of the bands that couldn't get in, and he's like, "Okay, so this is the plan. I'm gonna fucking bring my camera, and I'm gonna go take a picture of Niagara Falls, and I'm gonna slowly keep going farther down, then go past the station guy." And go farther down, just keep taking pictures and like looking at him, and then just turn around, just walk in, and we just went and picked him up inside once we got in, and boom, picked him, and he was just in. So it was like
played some PlayStation in the van,
and it was definitely smooth, man. I was like, damn,
smooth,
that was
man.
Yeah,
everyone knew what to do. Niagara Falls trick, man.
yeah. No, they'll catch on. I don't want to talk about it too much. I don't want that to anyone. I'm sure nowadays you can't do that shit anyways, though. I'm sure they're like way, especially, I don't know, it just seems like the borders are just tighter.
Can you go into Canada now because with all the COVID stuff?
I know, this is like 2007. Yeah. What year was this? 2006?
Yeah, like 6 or 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
Things
that.
are probably different now.
I remember you needed a passport, which is new, but.
Can you get into Canada now? Like right now?
I think you can. I don't know. I know that Greg just got in. He got there a couple days ago.
Yeah, but he's like married.
Yeah, he's married to a Canadian woman.
I don't think he can get in.
Greg from Elysion?
Yeah.
I love that guy, man.
Hell yeah.
I love him. I love him.
He's awesome.
He was just on a few episodes ago.
Totally.
2 times now. Love that dude.
Yeah, he's one of my best friends in the scene for sure. We just drunken FaceTime each other all the time.
Canada claim him now. Yeah.
He's out of he's a full Canadian now. He's
dual citizenship.
He's waiting for, I guess he was saying something about the process is really slow, blah, 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 but he just went there, and I guess he's stuck there for now until paperwork gets pushed through. But yeah, he's, I don't know where he is exactly, but I think it's on the east side. I think it's closer to Quebec where he is for sure.
Yeah, Ontario. Yeah.
Ontario. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, so he's in that scene now.
That's awesome, man. I'm not sure how they're going to make it work with the band, but they'll figure it out, man. They were like, when we tour with them, like I just want to say, like, obviously Obscura, fantastic band on every level, but like Legion, Fallujah, these guys, they were so cool, man. It's so good at what they do. It's like, that's also one of the factors that really pushed us, to do what we did on the album, just seeing them perform every night, like, and then we talk to them in a tour bus. They're so humble and cool. So it's like, no one's a rock star, and it's like, everyone's so cool, But Greg, especially Greg. Fallujah. Scott is, I think, one of my favorite musicians I've ever met. Scott is Carstairs.
Carstairs, yeah.
He's fantastic. I love this guy so much. But it's kind of weird because 2019 was a really intense year. First Fragment and Funebrarum tours, and at the end of the year, First Fragment did some shows, local shows, and this is where it kind of sucks that COVID happened, because I feel like those few shows, this is where I kind of realized it was the first time, like the last show especially that we did was the first Fragment show that I was like, this is exactly how I want this band to be in a live setting. Just crazy stuff happening, really like 80s stage antics, and there's a lot of improvisation in the first. You think it's a very calculated band, but no, man, there's a lot of weird improvisation and strange quirks and unexpected things. Like sometimes we'll throw in a random new song out of the blue, or just come up with new arrangements for already existing songs, or just bass and drum solo out of the blue in between two songs, that kind of shit. We did that last show. I was like, oh man, if we continue in that direction, we really have this down for the first time. Well, we had some great shows in the past, but COVID happened. It's oh, we'll just wait, we'll just start working on the new album, and whenever it opens up again, we'll promote the album. But it's shit happens.
Speaking of COVID, did I heard a rumor, and I might be missing the venue, but did Foof's close?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I heard some rumor, I forget, might have been from Trevor from Black Dahlia or something, that was saying that it might be closing or something like that, and I was like, that would be huge if that closed. That's one of the main venues there. That's the main venue, right?
One of the main venues.
Yeah.
That would be a huge blow, man. I hope this is just a rumor.
I could be missing the venue, but I remember hearing something, because there were so many big venue closures during this that you just keep hearing about another one, what the fuck, this one's closed, this one's
called all these Foofs.
Fofone électrique. Fofone is slang for ass or ass cheeks in French. Quebec French. So it's electric ass cheeks,
I like it.
I didn't even know
that. How you translate.
Dude, translate. Be a great song name, Electric Ass Cheeks.
Yeah. For sure.
Judas Priest already did it, dude.
Or they did it.
Judas Priest. Speaking of Judas Priest, did you see that news that Glenn Tipton's writing on the new on the new Judas Priest?
Really?
Yeah. Yesterday I got it.
That's great, man. But I know it must be difficult with what he's going through, but that's fantastic, man.
Maybe he's not on some medication or something that's helping. Yeah, who knows? That's great. But is he playing on the album? I know he's writing it, but Andy Sneap is still doing the tour, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think he might be. I mean, he might be putting some stuff in, but I don't know
what's wrong with him. What's wrong?
Isn't it arthritis?
Parkinson's.
Shit.
Yeah. Same thing Ozzy has now too.
Jesus,
right? Parkinson's is no joke, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Personally know some people, I know one man that has it, and it gets worse and worse. It never stops.
That's just one of those diseases that destroys musicians. It's obviously ALS and stuff, obviously with Jason Becker and stuff, but that's still it's one of those ones that just takes your motor skills. Just all the stuff that you need to play music. Besides your hearing's good, everything's fine, but your hands are just shaking and you can't do anything. It's one of those tough ones. Yeah,
and then ALS is you can't move shit.
Yeah,
you just stuck in a fucking body, dude.
I was scared for a second because didn't remember a couple weeks ago or a month ago or something that they said that Jason Becker was breathing lightly and wasn't. I was like, oh god.
No.
I know he's already lived 30 years or 20 years longer than they said. So I mean, I try to look at the bright side of, but that would be crushing. That's
I watched that. I watched that documentary with Joel, dude, and it was so touching, and like to really learn how that man has to live, you know, and how positive him and his family are throughout the whole entire thing, and everybody's actually like on point taking care of him. You know, he's not drinking the fucking bullshit. His wife's fucking making like this highly nutritious fucking shakes, and now here he is when he had a death sentence in his 20s, and he's in his how old is he now? He's got to be 50.
He's probably pushing 50. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
and
sure.
So
it was amazing seeing him in person at that thing. That event.
Oh, you went to that?
Saw him in person?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, that's when they premiered that documentary, right?
Was that Slim? No, I wasn't there. That was a Slim one. I couldn't make it.
I think. No, that was down in San Jose or something. We went to like the one down there.
Yeah, he's from. I think he lives in Alameda.
I think it was down there. Yeah, I think, or was it Oakland? I think it was San Jose.
Yeah, I remember that. They premiered.
It was amazing. He was on the stage. Yeah, it was so great. And then they premiere it, but he like answered questions and stuff like through his system of communication that he has.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Did he crack any jokes? Because he cracked some fucking funny shit.
He did crack a couple jokes.
He had a documentary. He had me laugh plenty of times, dude.
It's funny because watching his dad like read it, because his dad doesn't know what he's gonna say, and he's like, he's all butthole or something like that. He'd be working on a word, and his dad would just.
There was a time where there's times where he knew what he was about to say too, and he's just like, oh, here we go, you know. And he still read it out because he's like,
exactly.
My dad has a small penis or something like that, and he's just like, well, I gotta say it.
Yeah. He's a character, dude. It's so sick.
I think that positive vibes definitely could be a little bit of medicine, you know.
Yeah,
it is, man.
Definitely. That story, you walked out of that story just like blown away, sad, inspired, like everything, like everything
moved,
that can come
for sure. I was definitely emotionally changed, you know.
Yeah,
I looked at, because you know you guys are all string players and shit. I'm just a fucking voice, dude. I could play some Stain songs on fucking acoustic guitar. That's it, dude. You know, and
of course.
So it's like, and so it's there's like maybe another step for me to get to understanding and appreciating guitar players as well as you guys. Like obviously I know what sounds good, and I love shredding music and shit, but like there's another level that as somebody who isn't a guitar player, I have to climb one more step on the ladder, you know. And that documentary made me want to pay attention to Jason Becker a lot more, you know. When I listen to Jason Becker, it's like I need to pay attention, and really feel what this man was doing, because
the time that he came out too.
Just Perpetual like Burn is just so ridiculous, and it's not just shredding; it's so musical too, and like songs like Air and all that stuff, and like, man, dude, God, dude, and of course Cacophony. We all love that stuff. We love Marty Friedman, and
Ninja.
Of course, yeah, it's a good song. It's a really good song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
I know.
Jason Becker's solo album is I haven't heard all his solo work, but it's so inspirational. I was listening to that album one time, and I said I want to make a little tribute to Jason Becker. I threw on a synth track, and I did a lead over the synth track, like kind of the way he does, you know, like he has like a synth chords and he plays leads over it. It's like, oh, let's put that in the album. It's gonna be a little nod to Jason Becker, you know. So that kind of stuff that he does, it's just like that, or just like the way he kind of articulates his notes, like the vibrato, the way he uses his whammy bar. Like I love everything of the way he does. You know, he's one of my top 10. In my top 10 guitarists. You know.
Yeah.
Definitely. And to see how he writes post ALS too, like being in the studio,
so great
with that dude. And that dude realizing like he's literally looking at guitars on the wall as he's writing. So he's like imagining it being played on the guitar. You're just like, fuck, dude. And what's that album of Blackberry Jam?
Blackberry Raspberry Jam or something like
or whatever. That isn't that
Jams,
him,
like,
or
something.
That's post ALS. He wrote it and brought in musicians to play it, right?
No, that was his original demos. I think that's before Perpetual Burn. I think.
Didn't
right?
Michael
Blackberry
Lee Firkins? Didn't Michael Lee Firkins played on that?
Well, you're talking about the album, like the first one he put out with other musicians that played his material, right?
Yeah, Raspberry Jams was a collection of demos and songs.
Yeah,
and
Raspberry Jams was before.
But there's Blackberry something.
Oh, is there?
There's Triumphant Hearts that came out in 2018. That's something that I think he put together. But this is, I think you're talking before this. There's actually a few things on here. But
I thought he put out. I thought
there's Blackberry. There's Blackberry Jams.
Yeah. Okay.
Blackberry Jams.
Multiple berries, apparently. Yeah.
And that's that's post his ALS shit. So
2003. It says 2003.
Other musicians playing.
Okay, that's what it's. I get it. They changed the berry. Got it.
They changed the berry.
That's the got it. Different berry. Got it.
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah.
Well, that shit's great, dude. That's so cool.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's got one. This second most listened to song on here is "Valley of Fire" from the 2018 or 17 or whatever it said. It's got Michael Lee Firkins, Steve Vai, Joe Bonamassa, Paul Gilbert. And it's like, and it just trails off, and all these guitar players like it just dot. But yeah, he's just got like
Steve Vai was the gig that he got before he got the ALS.
That was David Lee
right?
Roth. David Lee Roth.
Shit, my bad.
Yeah. So he got hired for David Lee Roth. He was basically the next guitar player after Eddie Van Halen.
Right.
It was they found this kid, and he just was like, because they had Shrapnel Records back in the day, and that was like the Shrapnel Records was like the shred label, with all these it's like the unique leader for underground technical death metal, but it was for underground shredders kind of thing. And he was he was on there, and I think that's how they got discovered.
Marty was joining Megadeth that time, right?
Okay. Yeah. Definitely.
And it was like before 90. It was like must have been late 80s or something.
Yeah. No, that's insanely. I know. Jason, go down. I can go down the Jason Becker rabbit hole. I know. Totally.
As far as shredders, but
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Phil, do you like other like Ron Jarzenbeck? Are you into that stuff? Like,
I'm a big fan of Watchtower.
Hell yeah.
Huge
totally.
fan. Huge.
Yep. What about Sean Lane and stuff?
I have a guitar traditional from Sean Lane burned on an old DVD somewhere. Used to watch that just to punish myself. It's like, Phil, you gotta work on your legato, man.
Texas guys, man.
His legato was just ridiculous. It was like almost still to this day, like watching those old videos I used to watch, like to blow my mind and stuff. I'm just like, how it just sounds like an alien. Like, I don't even understand
totally.
Absolutely.
Do you like fusion dudes like Aldi Meola or like Frank Kambali and like all kinds of stuff like that?
John
McLaughlin. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So all these guys, huge sorts of inspiration.
Me too. Fuck yeah.
Just classic shit.
Are you guys down with that guitar trio? It wasn't called the Guitar Trio, but it was a studio album that all three of them. And it's just their three names on the cover in different.
What's not to like, dude?
How could you
amazing.
Not be down? It's
Guitar Trio
for sure. I'm just saying, like,
I love it. It's awesome.
Something that I'd like to listen to with my family and shit too. It's like to have that in the background while we're fucking.
Is it called Passion, Grace, and Fire? That one they put out. That one, dude. That one's. Have you heard that one, Anthony? Passion, Grace, and Fire.
So there's multiple of them in
it's the Guitar Trio. There's Live in San Francisco, which was like recorded in 1980 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's like an album.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
That's the recorded one. But then there's Passion, Grace, and Fire, which is like freaking shredding. Like,
right. Well, now I got
like off the bat. It's like
I gotta write
they're all
down
shredding, but
yeah, it's insane. You know, the new first Fragment album starts with an almost 3-minute flamenco thing. It's all inspired by that kind of thing, and we have like a full flamenco song on there too. And that kind of stuff really had an impact on me. And so cool. Our vocalist David, one of the original member, left with me. He's into that sort of thing. He always he pushed me like that. Phil, you gotta put more of that.
Yeah.
And David is he's one of my favorite human beings, and he's really like important to me. And he's like, if David doesn't like the stuff I do, it means like, no, I can't I can't play that. I can't record that. I have to. He has to like it. You know, he absolutely has to like it. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna do more flamenco stuff. And then I showed it to him. He's like, fuck yeah, Phil. You know,
sick.
So he kind of pushed me to. You gotta push me for that to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
Sick, man. I heard that stuff on your album, and like, is there any of that on the new album?
Oh yeah, like I said, it's plenty, man. It's
cool,
like,
nice.
Like tons of like flamenco parts and classical guitars. Yeah, it's
nice.
Like twice as much as before. So
the best show I've ever been to, pretty much in my whole life, which I've always said, is when I got to see Paco de Lucia, before. Like a year or two before he passed away, I think. And that was in Oakland. I think that was, I'm getting mixed up. Dude, that was the best show I've ever seen. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life, dude.
Oh, it must have been, man.
It was so funny because I went with a couple of friends, Josh and Richard. And we go in there, and it's like in this theater, dude. And it's like all these adults like in suits, and everyone's like drinking wine. It was like, a bunch of metal guys come in there. We're just like, we're like not dressed up or anything. And we're like, oh, okay, interesting. We're like the youngest people there, and dude, it was the sickest thing I've ever seen. Like they had like groups of like people clapping on either side for the band, that do the like the rhythmic, like flamenco clapping, and they were panning it between either side, and it sounded like double bass, like between like two groups of people. Like they had it like timed out, like where it was like, and I was just like, what the fuck? And then matching the dancer and shit, and then all their like strummings matching in, like just like, dude, no death metal band could ever.
That's kind of like when I saw it was John McLaughlin with Zakir Hussain, that tabla player.
Oh shit! Yeah.
You caught them together. That's sick.
Yeah, my mom took me to that. She was like, "Dude, you got to see this." And I was, because she showed me John McLaughlin, the guitar trio and stuff like that. She gave me that Live in San Francisco album when I was in high school. She's like, "You like guitar? Check this out." But I saw that, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be. It's just like an Indian tabla player, and they're just all sitting down like Indian style, just sitting down, and like it was probably one of the most. I walked out of there saying it was like probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. It was like, like Zakir was saying, like would hit like these harmonics on his like tabla. I'd be like beep 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 beep, beep, like and start like shredding on his tabla. Like I'm like, I was sitting there like just going like, what the fuck? And there is a couple videos online of that tour, but. Nice. Man, and of him playing like in India and stuff for like 70,000-80,000 people, like of just them sitting down just jamming that, and it's
you ever fucked with the Shakti shit?
I think it's Shakti, right?
Yeah, SHAKTI.
Yeah, Shakti is amazing. I caught Zakir live as well too. It was super sick,
super technical fucking percussion in that shit.
Yeah,
insane.
And vocal shit.
Did any of you guys catch? That's true. Yeah. Anyone catch Alan Holdsworth live?
No.
Clinic.
No.
I saw
Clinics.
I saw a Holdsworth concert. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Sick.
It was so sick. Yeah.
It's just one of those guys that you just like with Paco. I remember Casey, you were going to Paco, and I was like, whatever, I'll catch him next time. There wasn't a next time. So sometimes like there's those people you got when they're getting up there in age, you just gotta say whatever. It's on a Monday. I gotta go. I gotta you gotta make that commitment. Even with comedy, like, oh shit, what's that?
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Anthony is holding up a box set of the
what the fuck?
Alan Holdsworth. What is it? The Man Who Changed Guitar Forever.
It's the fucking complete discography.
Nice, man. Nice.
Dope.
Yeah, dude.
So cool.
Woo! Look at all that Holdsworth, dude. Right in my hand. Dude.
Anthony's holding all of the Holdsworth in his hand.
Well, Santa Cruz
is worth holding the Holdsworth, dude.
Santa Cruz has the Quamba Jazz Center, which is one of the best jazz venues in the entire
Stanley
world.
Clark there. Yeah.
I used to go see Charlie Hunter there, and
that's where I seen Alan Holdsworth, Jean-Luc Ponty.
Oh, okay.
I saw Jean-Luc Ponty with Al Demiola at the Mount Winery.
When I saw him, Virgil Donati was playing drums, I believe.
Who's that? Just kidding.
I saw Billy Cobham there. I've seen
shit!
All the fusion guys there.
I saw Billy Cobham in 2008.
Nice.
One of the most impressive shows I've seen. I've seen Alan Holdsworth too, and one of the things that really struck me, that was a year later. It was a clinic in a music shop, whatever, and he was explaining how he was like the way he approach improvisation, and it was really interesting. It's like, it's like I'm going in a room and there's like 3 other doors in that room, and I just take one of the doors, and that door takes me to another room with 3 doors, and then it all goes on and on. He's like, none of the doors, there's no wrong door. There's just infinite doors, possibilities, and it's so like abstract the way he does it. It's like, well, it's easier said than done, but at the same time, it makes sense. And it's just for him, it's like endless possibilities. Like it's like you could watch him for like 4 hours, and there's like probably not one lick he would repeat. It's just like an infinite well of chops and licks that he has over the years. And just watching that for like an hour, it's like, yeah.
Have you checked out the he has a book? Have you read his book?
Yeah, my fingers hurt just watching it.
I could not understand the book. It's his own like guitar theory. It was like his theory of guitar, and it's got all these crazy diagrams, and it makes I couldn't understand it because it wasn't just like staff or guitar notation. And I was like, wow, this is a deeper dive than I have time for right now. Nice. So, but it's out there. Yeah.
I just saw like some of his chord like progressions, and I'm not joking, my fingers hurt just watching, just like looking at the chord progressions.
Yes.
Fuck yeah,
those Holdsworth chords. They're ridiculous.
Oh yeah, they're like crazy.
The biggest stretches.
I'm literally over here
like
I'm trying to spread.
Somehow sneaks his finger back, like he'll sneak like this pointer finger like back like 3 frets to like bar or something. I'm like, what the fuck?
He's like, it's just like an E minor, so like those memes, but it's like real.
Yeah. It's totally real. Like, the meme is real. It's absolutely real.
Yeah. No, him and Jarzenbeck are kind of in the same league, I would say, right? Wouldn't you say? They're kind of like these kind of mad scientists of guitar.
They're like from outer space guitarists.
Yeah.
Oh
they
yeah.
Just took it to a ridiculous level. And
what
even
linked it up for me was Focus, and then hearing Holdsworth, and I'm like,
dude,
shit. This is where it came from, because you have to dig in order to figure that out, because you listen to Focus for the longest time, it's like nobody else sounds like this, but then you come across Holdsworth and you're like, this is what they were listening to. That Mahavishnu Orchestra, fucking all that shit, and then they ended up becoming Cynic.
Just a shout out to Robert Fripp.
I'm seeing King Crimson in a month. I'm seeing King Crimson.
God damn it, Joel.
With my mom. My mom's actually flying out from New Mexico to come see it. Me and Trevor, my mom are going. So it's gonna be sick.
Very
jealous.
jealous.
We got like front row. Yeah, we spent.
Rub it in, nice.
I know.
We're like that show.
I think we're like in front of like Robert Fripp.
It's in August.
Sick, dude.
Wow.
What else? Keep going.
Actually the Robert Fripps? Those like gear breakdowns, and actually. I want to get into gear in a second, Phil, because people talk about wanting to know more about gear and stuff, and I want to know more about, because I'm obviously love it. But like he has that gear breakdown, there, gear rundown, or whatever those YouTube videos are of the guy with the microphone and talking to Robert Fripp's guitar tech, and that gear rundown, his board, like it's like it wraps all the way around him, and he's in quad stereo. I don't know he's got 4, so he can do like a loop in the back left corner of the venue, the back right corner of the venue, and then one in the 2 fronts. So he can have 4. He's got like 2 different pairs of stereo going at the same time with all the pedals and stuff. And he's got like a mixture of iPads and like this retro old school 70s shit, like pedals and stuff like that. And like the rig, it just like literally gives me anxiety. This guy that has to like run that thing, like if one thing goes wrong, like I mean, he was talking about all the ways around if things go wrong. He's got the fractal stuff, he's got the old school amps, he's got like everything like just wrapped around him.
In the moment, troubleshooting if some shit goes wrong, like the lists you got to go down like in your nightmare, like fast.
Shit would go wrong with me with a fucking guitar head and a cabinet and like one pedal. Like shit would go wrong, and I would be like, "What's the problem? I don't know. I don't know how to fix
like when you forget to plug in, right?
Yeah. But so Phil, I see you have a 5152 behind you. So is that your main rig, and what kind of pedals, or are you using anything digital, or what are you doing?
Yeah, it's what I've used for Fragment, and also Catalyst. Some Funeral stuff. I think I used it to reamp the Eternity Zen stuff. Also Xerox. I used it for a lot of bands. It's just as far as pedals go, I'm still in search of my tone, or my ultimate tone after years. It never stops, But in the live setting, I usually just have a shitload of delay and overdrive because my favorite, my ideal idea of a lead guitar tone is Tony McAlpine on the Mars Project Driver album release in '85 or '86. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's the best guitar tone in metal, in my opinion. One of the best, just like that really fat, juicy tone with lots of delay, and that's always been kind of the thing I wanted to do. Regardless of the style of music that I play, I'm always gonna have the similar tone for every one of my projects, First Fragment included. And people have always been asking about the First Fragment lead guitar tone, and it's really simple. It's just PV through a PV cab or Marshall. Actually, on Dasein, our previous full-length album, it was through a '70s Marshall cab that my father used to use back then, and a doubler setting that our guy who did all the productions we did together in 2009. His old computer couldn't open properly anymore, so we couldn't load in the session. So we had to take like really weird, like crude screenshots of the setting to kind of replicate it on the plugin he had. So it's like a mix of digital and the rest comes from the amp. But it's that one FX setting that we did back then in 2009 that we're still using on later albums in First Fragment, and there's no pedal that I know that sounds like that. I hope one day somebody does a doubler pedal that has a similar sound, but the way we did it, it would take me like an Axe-FX to kind of just take the effect and use it in a live setting. But Axe-FX, it has its good and bad. I just prefer having just an amp and screaming behind me. But
I mean, for traveling, probably Axe-FX would make. That makes a lot of sense for a lot of people with the modeling stuff, just because it's one little thing.
And I've tried it before. I played session guitar in a band called Brought by Pain. It's all the guys from Beyond Creation. It's like they're all like their side project, and basically both bands, they play together, and the both bands use the same rig, Axe-FX. So I've played a few shows with Axe-FX and that kind of stuff, and it's cool. It's very practical, but PV has always been for me. I know a lot of people use PV. It's like one of the go-tos, one of the most used amps in metal, but it's just, I guess it complements how I play. It just works for me.
It's very durable too.
Yeah, it's just versatile. Whether I'm playing precise stuff or old school death metal or even funeral doom, just change the EQ and add an extra pedal in there, and boom, voila. I just say voila with an American accent. I'm supposed to say voila, live to kind of, I just, like I said, you use an overdrive pedal and delay pedal, sometimes a chorus, even like the chorus pedals, I'm still trying to find the right one, just to have that really the most like 80s chorus possible. I haven't found the right one yet, but
who you got to talk to is because Matt comes over here all the time. Matt from Decrepit Birth.
Oh,
and, he's
into that stuff.
Oh man, like he comes in because I have the Axe-FX here, and so he's like he comes in here and actually last time he came, he was trying to be like, fuck the Axe-FX, dude. I'm gonna bring these like old school amps, and he got like these 2 amps, slaved one of them into another amp, and all this crazy stuff, and it sounded sick. It sounded really cool, but I ended up, I feel like I won that battle a little bit, just because I could go in and he didn't really have it all dialed in. I had my stuff completely dialed in, like what I wanted to do. And, but no, he definitely is all about trying to find that classic 80s tone. He is 80s and early 90s tone. Matt is like the stuff he gets into and how he'll take multiple different amps and plug them into each other and do different combinations of things and add these random effects in. And he if you ever want any information, he will like I've randomly like been at work and he just asked me questions about, we talk about amps and stuff, and it just starts going back and forth. And I'm like, dude, I got to work, man. I can't he just goes like, I mean, just like me, I'm super into it too. So he just like paragraphed it, and we'll just go back and forth. Like, if you ever want to chat with someone, I'm sure he would love to talk that, like, chorus and delay and all that stuff, tone stuff with you, and get like over the top nerdy.
Oh yeah, that guy Matt, I never spoke to him, but he seems like he's a real one, man. I remember I used to go on this forum back in the day.
The SMN forums.
Yes, it was coming. We had to talk about it a little bit.
What was your name on there?
Chromaticity.
But, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. What's that?
The SMN forums.
And like Matt, I know Matt was on this forum, and I see he has like a Psychotic Waltz picture. It's like, okay, this guy's a real one, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knows he knows the good shit, That's like that's where I first saw him.
What's funny about that is the Decrepit Birth forum that got taken over by trolls and had to be moved away.
Yeah,
it had to be renamed because Matt was like,
those days, dude.
I was in the band at that time, so I was actually like telling Matt.
Got pissed. Yeah,
I was telling Matt at the time. I was like, dude, keep your name on it, dude. I mean, I know it's not like it's a lot of people.
Good or bad publicity is still publicity.
I mean, it's not all bad too, but there's the guy Coma or whatever, and then there was like remember Coma? I think everyone remembers Coma.
Oh, shit, I forgot.
There's people on there that were just like brutal. Like anything that we would ever release, it would just be like it'd be like fuck yeah, and then like Como just be like the main guy there, it'd be like, this shit sucks, fuck you. Like,
what's actually a blessing in disguise with that is that I learned how to deal with that shit early.
Yeah,
man.
Before social media.
Yeah. So I was already prepped for all this. Mm-hmm. This is the way the internet is now, and I had one, like, I think there might have been one time I like engaged, and I was like, you know what? Why did I even do
I made that mistake
engaged so much. Times. Yeah, I would just go. I would engage.
We didn't understand. We're like, what? We talking?
And then
shit,
Coma would make like a full thread on what I said,
idea.
And like he'd make a full thread of like a quote I said, and just like rip it apart and be like, this guy fucking sucks, blah, blah. Like, oh shit. Just like I would just like show up to the forums like on my work. I'd be at Circuit City working and like read the forums and be like, oh shit, am I in trouble or something? Like, what's going on? like he really like.
You're in big trouble.
His name was Brian. I know that his name was Brian. I don't know. I saw one picture of him one time, and he's just some kid in his basement kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good point though, because I remember like when YouTube first started getting like all like a thing, and we were like, video's cool, and then there's these brutal comments. I'm like, Jesus, man, like I didn't get it, Then I messaged some guy, and he was like, you're a fucking bitch, and I was just all like, what the hell? And I was like, okay,
people were not right in their minds, man.
You just like don't you don't read those, you don't message people like Riley is like, I don't fucking read that shit, like who reads those?
But it's like, what's the point of my thing is like, what's the point of like taking the time and energy to tell somebody that you don't like their shit or you don't like how they perform?
There's a point, because people do it all the time. So.
I know, but it's like
also too though. I was like 21, 20, 22. Like I was like, this was brand new to me. So like, and people were directly talking about shit that I was a part of. So like I wasn't able to be like, it wasn't a conversation like, oh, I'm showing someone a band, they're like, that sucks. They're like, your band sucks. Like, fuck you. Like they're going after like me personally. And when you're 22 and stuff like that, you're just like, or 21.
Yeah, dude. We're definitely full of testosterone, dude.
You've seen that?
I just said testosterone, dude.
All right, that's a heated phone call.
It's funny because as much as this place was toxic, it's kind of ironic because some of these trolls I ended up doing bands with.
Really?
I'm not kidding.
Oh no, kidding. What band? It was what's his name? Tarrant. What's
Roman.
his fucking name? Roman.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We did Roman is not in the scene anymore, but we did,
what was the band called?
Zealotry. He let me do the guitars and kind of take over like the guitar stuff. But he's a great songwriter, but I guess because of his attitude online, I guess some people were biased towards the band.
Yeah.
But he was a troll too. So at the same time, it's like
yeah.
But Xerox, the other band I formed back then. Well, it was not my band, but I met Antonio through these forums, and he was one of those trolls. He was like, "First Fragment sucks, but it could be really good." And First Fragment, when we did the 2008 and 2009 demos, everyone in Quebec were like crazy about it. But all this clique, the Rivers of Gore, SMN people were like, "This sucks. This should be like old school death metal." It's like, well, like, okay, well, I do have an old school death metal band, but it's like it doesn't have to be that.
Dude, it's just like it's just sandcastles, man. It's just sandcastles, dude. You just built a sandcastle.
At the same time, it made me have a thicker skin, for later.
But for somebody to say to somebody else, your art should be this.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Like, what a pretentious fucking asshole.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind anymore. But the point was dealing with that, like you said earlier, at such a back then I was like 16, 17. It's kind of brutal to hear that from strangers. But after that, you get a thicker skin, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'll just keep doing whatever I want, and whatever. But the point is, as much as I guess going on forums and stuff, it can be seen as a waste of time, and to be honest, it kind of is. But
I did find some great projects from good threads in that place.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands, a lot of music.
So many people from there. Lily Rubber from Defeated Sanity. We did an album together because we did an album together. Because we knew we knew each other through these forums. The other bands I mentioned, even my bandmate in C-List, I met through that forum. So it's like it's good part, it's good.
Yeah, we were just talking about positive vibes earlier.
Yeah,
you keep the positive vibes. You find the other people that have the positive vibes.
Man. It wasn't all bad at all. It wasn't all bad at all. I think the bad was amplified for all of us, because when the bad came, we were just like, what the fuck, and we were like, took it really to heart at the time, and Matt would actually come through and be pretty elegant about his responses. He would, he would be very like calculated and not like give in too much to the trolling, and he would respond, be like, oh, I see what you're saying here, blah blah, but I decided not to do that, because he would say like responses like that rather than like, fuck you too, man. He would like actually have like an elegant kind of response that actually I've always appreciated about Matt, how he I could tell that it hurt him, because I was in a van with him for many months, so I know that like he didn't like it, and he was like mad about, he was like bummed about it, but like at the same time, like there were so many more people that were, it was the Decrepit Birth forum that people were talking this on. So it was like at the beginning. So it was like, it was all going down on pretty much his band's, everyone was going to his band's forum, to talk. So
it was like before we were touring too. We had done one.
Yeah.
But it was like right before, like it was like 2007. We were like getting ready to tour. Then 2008 we started touring a bunch. But like, yeah, it was funny, dude. It was like, I remember like on the road a couple times, remember, like, I'm sure you remember too, Joel, but like these guys coming up like and just being like, yeah, like, what's up? Like, and yeah, we like you guys a lot, but we don't like your new album at all. Like, so how's it going? Like, we don't like it. Like, fuck you. Something like that. It's like, cool.
There's always going to be those people. But, it comes with the territory, man.
But dude, I mean, honestly, I got to throw it out to South Park. Like, one of my favorite episodes of all time is the troll episodes. Like, there's like a few of them. Have you seen those?
Possibly.
I don't think I remember.
Nobody.
I watched the show. I don't.
Nobody here has seen the troll episodes.
I probably have. I've seen like probably like
with like
episodes.
What is it? Kyle's dad, Broflovsky. What's his name? Whatever. His dad.
Yeah.
Gerald, right?
Oh yeah.
Gerald. Yeah. Dude,
Gerald. Yeah.
Okay. All of you guys and all of our listeners right now, you need to make sure you watch the troll episodes of South Park. It's the funniest fucking shit. It involves Denmark and all this shit in this, dude. And dude, genius, dude. I mean, everything about South Park is pretty much genius, but I mean, but dude,
I haven't watched the show in a while, but I think I'm gonna take a look at that episode specifically. I'm really curious now.
I'm gonna like put it in the description of this video. Sounds like good. The episode number and there's like a couple of Matt, dude.
Yeah.
Shit. He's like in his. I don't want to give it away, but he's like all the guys stuff you're talking about. Like, just imagine these people. Like, that's why I said the sandcastles thing is like, it's not. It's just about like they see something pretty that everyone's into and they just want to smash it. And it's funny, to them, right? He's like in there. He's just like, and just like typing in the dark, like late at night. It's like a symphony, like Beethoven, and he's like, dun, 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 and he's just like,
he's all talking shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what it's about. So when you feed into it, then they're like, oh shit, then he responds. But if you don't,
I've caught myself doing that to people, or to things and people too. Back then, like, almost seeing like something that I'm not really into, and then seeing like everyone, like when I was younger, not really these days, but see people just fawn over it like it's the best thing ever, and I would be like, I don't really see what you guys see. Well, I'm like, I think this is not very good, and I don't know. I would get
just for the thrill of being on the other side of things.
Yeah, it's like a contrarian move. It's like being the contrarian, being like,
we all add those moments.
Joel, we're figuring out trolls.
Exactly.
Joel is 25% troll.
It's the gorilla.
Rhymes with my name.
It's the gorilla's advocate. Is what it is.
Joel the troll, dude.
Yeah.
Okay,
I used to say it.
Wait, can I just ask about what's the project you did with Lille?
Oh yeah, so back.
Well, it was the first Zolatry album. That was not Xerox actually, but you would have expected Lille to play in a band like Xerox, because Zolatry is a completely different thing. But Lille, dude, I didn't expect them. I played a festival in Los Angeles. It was Funebrarum and Devarment, and he was at the show, man, in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Like, they were recording the new album.
Okay.
Like, Phil, I'm like, I kind of froze for like 2 seconds. Like, what? What are you doing here? It's like, don't you live in Germany? He's like, well, we're recording the new album. I was like, damn, and Jacob was there too, man.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's where he lives now. That's where he lives.
Yeah,
they've both been on their previous duo guest on the show. Super cool dudes.
I invited Jacob to come jam here, and he says he'll come out sometime. So
sick.
Like, I have to be honest with you guys, brutal death metal has never really been my thing that much, except for a few bands. But Defeated Sanity has always consistently been like a really like band. When
we got the big flags for them.
Yeah, dude, I started listening to them, like they were the first, with Suffocation, the first brutal death metal band I got into, like in 2007 or 8-ish. But I liked them a lot. But when Chapters came out, 2010, I probably listened to the album for like every day for like 2 months straight. It's just nonstop, just completely addictive album with that guy AJ from Disgorge.
That's a good one, dude.
He's in To Violently Vomit, the band I play with, in with Diego.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Diego.
Since when?
Diego's crazy on guitar, man.
Is that a
he's
Cali exclusive?
No, he did the show.
AJ's been the main To Violently Vomit singer, or like To Violently Vomit will play and has played with other Disgorge singers, including Maddie Way and
AJ is the most recent,
and Angel. But AJ did the last show that we all did together, and he's set to play the next show as well.
So cool, man.
Sick, dude.
Didn't he sing in Deprecated too?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that band too. With Maddie Way is cool, man. He's a great singer, but I love working with him. Like, Jamie and Maddie make such a great team, man.
Nice.
They really, like, when it comes to the new album, Unique Leader, they have their own roster of like specific kind of branches of bands, and I know we don't really fit in there anymore that much as compared to the other bands, but they really like helped us a lot, man, and I couldn't be more thankful. Like, I'm not talking just about the budget, but like everything. They really like encouraged us to, see things through in our way. And even though there may be a situation where there's something unplanned that's going off, they'll like adjust and we'll make things work no matter what. But Maddie Way is great, man, and you have a lot of like surrounded by sick musicians like that. Like I said, Diego is like that guy is such an insane guitarist, dude. It's fucking inhuman.
It's his birthday tomorrow, and we're practicing.
Oh really?
Well, he doesn't know me, but tell him whatever. He doesn't know me. It doesn't matter. But like, I would tell him happy birthday.
Oh man, you never hung out with Diego. He's like he's basically like, I would say he's like basically like the the fifth host on here, basically. Like I would, it's like the honorary.
He's actually
host.
I've been missing him lately. He needs to be on here again soon.
Yeah. No, he's one of the chillest like human beings, and it's funny that anytime his name gets brought up in the on any of these things that we do, like with whatever band we're talking to, everyone's like, "Oh, Diego, I fucking love Diego." Like everyone just like. He's all, like,
well, same with Matty though too. I know he was saying Matty's a good dude. He's one of those guys that is fucking down with death metal and down with new musicians, and like he's just always been such a positive fucking force. Every single time I talk to him, and have hung out with him, and we've had some great conversations. And these are the types of people that. Why I love this genre. This is why I stayed in this shit for so long. I kept on finding all these great human beings, dude.
Yep.
And we all really got to become a community, and I got to be able to really actually feel a part of this community that I stumbled across. And that's why now here we are fucking in our 30s doing podcasts of talking about this shit now and seeing what's up with the new generations too, and realizing it's all the same thing. It's happening the same way for everybody else, dude.
Hell yeah.
The community, once you're in, like things just happen very similarly for so many people.
Definitely.
And Matty Way's one of the dudes that I just was fucking super stoked to meet and super like happy that he was a good person,
Yeah.
That's
like,
so important.
Because you hear that voice and you're like, how is this guy going to be? And then you meet him at a show and he's just a fucking homie by the end of the night. And you're like, there it is, dude.
Totally. No, that's one of the things I've brought up many times on the death metal, like just on the podcast, is that how cool and how aggressive and how crazy the music is. But everyone, if they're not cool, if they're kind of shitty, it gets spread around pretty quickly, like in the death metal community, that this person sucks. Like it's a personality, and being cool and being nice to people is definitely a part of the, maybe Glenn Benton isn't cool. I don't know. I've never met him, but he seems like kind of an asshole. I don't know. He might be nice. I don't know.
You might be able to catch him on a good day, maybe.
Yeah. But I also want, it's like Yngwie Malmsteen. You're talking about Yngwie Malmsteen earlier. I want Yngwie Malmsteen and Glenn Benton to be kind of an asshole. That's what I want. I don't want them to be nice to me. Like, I don't like, if it's like getting an autograph. Like I remember Matt Sotelo, when he was a little kid, saw Yngwie Malmsteen and he refused to sign his autograph, and Matt was just like crushed. He was crushed by it. But at the same time, I was like, that's like an autograph in itself. You got dissed by Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah.
Rad, dude. Like
dissed by the jars.
Yeah.
But how cool would it be if Yngwie was like all super chill, like he's like the best,
Yeah. He seems. I saw him about 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't know. He's definitely got that. He's definitely got his ego. Which he does. I'm not saying he does. He's not deserving of. But but I also liked it. Like I was like watching him going like, he's kicking picks to everyone and doing all these like ballerina moves and shit. And I was like, I'm like, damn, this guy's got confidence, dude. Like the confidence you can't. Ridiculous. I know this confidence you can't fucking teach to anyone. He's got this like overwhelming confidence, and you feel it on stage too. He's just dominating the stage. Like he's running around, he's like throwing his guitar to his guitar tech without looking, and just like throwing it like super far, and I'm like, oh shit. Like
I feel like the American daddy of shred is like Steve Vai. He's like, hey guys, come on.
Yeah, he's like the nice
everybody, Tosin, all you guys, like it's just so sick.
Yeah.
He seems like a nice guy. I don't know. But not that it matters.
I wussed out on Medium because he came to our show, and because we were playing with the Animals as leaders, and fucking just see Steve Vai walking through, and I'm like, oh shit.
Right, dude.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell? Like,
wow, that is crazy, man.
His son is all into metal. His younger son's all into metal. So
cool.
like he looks like a metalhead. He's just his son dragged him out to come watch Animals Leaders. But I saw him watching us too, and I was like, Steve Vai is fucking watching me right now. I know.
Holy shit! I would shit my pants.
Oh, we had Casey. We had Casey got Jarzenbeck. We got Ron Jarzenbeck to show up to.
While you're on stage, did you look and find him? Did you actually see him while you were on stage?
Yeah, I saw him like up in the upper. I think I saw him. It was pretty far away in the upper deck at Sunset House of Blues.
Yikes, dude.
I know, but I mean, at the same time, I'm like, dude, you murder me, so I'm not worried about it. Like, I'm not like, I'm not trying
he's
to
like
fucking...
watching you like a Joel.
I know. It's like he's not watching me. Like, out of everyone, like he's not watching. Like,
that guy.
Matt, don't fuck up that solo, motherfucker, because you got Steve Vai watching you. But yeah, no, it's. I mean, at one time we had Casey, we had Jarzenbeck do a solo on the Cryptic Implosion album, and so Casey
that was a trip.
like hit up Jarzenbeck and was like, hey, we're in San Antonio. We know you live here. Do you want to come to the show? He's like, yeah, I'll come to the show. And we're like, oh shit, like he's actually coming. And he showed up, and
I know I was all playing. I was just like,
super mellow. Man, I know, and it was funny. I went up to I was drunk, and I went to Jarzenbeck, and I was like, dude, you can do the funniest thing for us right now, because I mean, I love Mike Keane. He's going to be on here in a couple weeks, but from the Faceless. And I was like, go walk up to Michael Keane with your arms crossed and just shake your head and walk away.
You said that to him? Oh my god! Dude.
And he didn't.
Oh my god!
He didn't do it.
He didn't do it. No, he's like, no,
he didn't do it. No, he didn't want to do it. But it was like a hypothetical.
Did you guys talk to him at all about how he came up with the soloing for that song on Cryptic?
I think he said he was really proud of it, and that
he spent a lot of time on it.
Spent a lot of time on it, and that he was bummed that we weren't touring it. Is what I think he said. Something like, he was like, I was like, totally. He's all, I wanted you guys to like play more shows and do more stuff. So so maybe we could have him come out on stage.
How did you guys feel when we got that back, dude?
Oh god, I know. He sent us that solo. I still remember that day, like when we got the solo back from him, and we're just like, oh my god, like a legitimate
put it on, dude. And we were just like,
what the fuck? We listened to it like, I think we listened to it, I'm not even kidding you, we probably listened to it like 40, 50 times.
Oh, dude, that right, you guys ready? Sure, play it again. Yeah.
Dude, when he harmonizes on the second solo, you're like, wait, oh my god.
We didn't even like know what he was doing at the time. We were like, what is that? It's like, okay, it's like whole tone, like major thirds in this all, but you don't even we were just like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
it sounded like a robot. Like it was like, it sounded like a
but it was perfect too. Yeah, it was perfect. It fits so well.
Yeah.
Did we give him the whole song or just that shit?
We gave him the whole song.
Because it sounds like he would have kind of listened to the whole song before he did it.
And we like, I don't know, it doesn't matter how much, but we paid him really good to do it. And he was like, you don't need to pay me that much. Like, man, I'll just a little bit's fine. And we were like, no, we're fucking going to pay you. Like,
So maybe that's why he kept all the Jarzenbeck we can squeeze out of you, dude.
We're not going to get a deal on Jarzenbeck. Like, we're going to pay him like really good, dude.
Yeah.
Part of the album. It's like part of our budget.
That is so flattering when people do that.
Yeah, but you got to, dude. Yeah. It's like the right thing to do.
Dude, Phil, you should almost do a solo on the new Odious.
Yeah, so what are you up to, dude? You got any
Seriously?
Hey, why not? Fuck yeah, dude. Oh yeah, love it for sure.
All right, I'm down.
We got Dan Kenny's gonna do a guest pinch harmonic.
Let's not unload our secrets all on one episode.
Not everybody's gonna know. On. Okay, no more secrets. Sorry, I let that.
You came up with all the ideas.
People can know about one
on
secret.
The episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true too. They've already been live, man. It's cool.
Yeah, we've talked about it a bunch.
But it's not a big, But the other secrets will be secrets. But but we'll see about Phil. I don't know. I mean, that's who knows, man. Who knows? It's
okay. So just adding to that, I
stop talking about her.
I sent Casey the Serox track that you have a guest solo on from the newest album Vor.
You did?
And I was like, inspiration for guitar solos for the new Odious.
There you go.
That's cool, man. I'm really flattered by that.
It was like an Instagram, like just
I should have missed
message
it,
at some point or something, Casey. Yeah, like just kind of a one-off. Like I share all kinds of shit with everybody, but I was like, so dude, cool. And I didn't realize that was you. Honestly, I was just like, dude, this guy, whoever this is awesome. And now it's all coming together. I'm like, oh, yeah, every sick band from Canada, this dude's in it. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go continue.
Oh, it's just I like is it Chathelist or Cathelist? That the full length I like listened to, and I didn't realize that was you as well.
Most people they don't expect it because it's it's quite different, like the vibe and the vocals.
It's been a minute since I've listened to it, so I'd have to revisit it, but I do like that style as well. And like, would you say that's kind of downstream of Gorguts and like a whole other side of the Canadian metal scene? Is that fair?
Well, I mean, in a sense, yes. But when Catila started, it was like, I started the band in 2010. In 2010, in Montreal, especially in Montreal, it was like a lot of tech death, a lot of black metal, and a lot of deathcore. And I mean, I'm not saying it's just good in everything, but like I was saturated. I was really angry at the time about everything, like young and stuff. And I said, I want to start a band that doesn't sound like a Quebec band. It will sound like it's something that was released in Finland in 1992. That's exactly what we went for. Like, all like Demigod, a Drumelec, Disgrace, like really like low profile bands, like mixed with some Swedish stuff, like Crematory. It's like downtune, and it's like, we're gonna do that. And like then we did the full length, and now just this whole OSDM thing going on in the US that's big, like we're doing old school death metal. But it's like, for me, it was like, okay, we kind of started labeling ourselves old school death metal at the beginning, but it's like, oh, it's kind of a lame thing. It's just death metal, you know? So
yeah.
So we kind of went with that. But Xerox is interesting because, you know, I was on and off with the band. You know, I did an album in 2012, left, came back, then did 2 albums. The last one was Phobos Demus Suit. And then I left. But then the band asked me to do a guest solo, and Xerox doesn't do solos. It's just riffs. You know, it's the whole idea of the band is, like, for example, when I wrote my half of the album, Phobos Demus Suit, like these riffs, you know, the album came out in 2018, but my riffs were from 2009 and 2012. And all these riffs were like, that was like written in a period. I was like, and I was like going through a US death metal phase of like listening to Severed Savior and Audius Mortem, and also listening to like Disavowed or bands like that. And I kind of kept these riffs like sealed until they would be a right time to use them, not in First Fragment, but another project. And that album was kind of like, I see it as my take on the whole, like, you know, early 2000s US technical death, brutal technical stuff, but like in a kind of a Canadian touch to it, like Cryptopsy influence big time. But then I left the band because I wanted to focus on the other things, and we were cool. And they asked me to do a guest solo, which that guest solo I originally wrote in 2012 for a demo for the band that I did. And they asked me to re-record the solo exactly how it was when I did like so many years ago. That was a challenge, like because as a guitar player, you kind of evolve over time, and just like trying to get back the feel I had back then it was really challenging, really difficult. But seeing that you like it that much, it means like, okay, maybe I did good. But it gives me hope, you know.
I'd like to hear the comparison. I'd like to hear the first.
Oh, that'd be well, it's the same notes. It's just the way I approach certain notes.
Yeah.
Like in the old version, the vibrato is different. Like the whammy bar accents they work, but they're kind of off at the same time. But it has a cool vibe. And originally they were like, "Oh, we're gonna use your old DIs from 2012." I was like, "No. It's like the sound quality is so bad. It's like I'm just gonna record it. I can record it at home anytime." And people like bands ask me guest solos all the time. It's like, cool, you know. I don't charge a lot, but you know, if Audius Mortem asked me for a solo, I would probably do it for free, but keep it a secret, right?
They hook their guests up, I hear, so you should.
Yeah, I know. Casey's gonna pay you a lot. He said,
"Oh no."
You know, we were talking about
like
doing guest solos. You know, Christian Munzner. That's how I kind of got close to him back then. Before I joined this power metal band, he did guest solos on the First Fragment album, and he was like, "Dude, I love this arrangement so much. I'm gonna do this for free." It's like,
wow, that's sick, dude.
Damn,
nice. Way cool.
Awesome.
So that was cool. But yeah, dude, I'm actually really flattered to hear you're into like Xerox, but also Catilas, because I realize it's not the easiest kind of thing to get into. But when somebody tells me specifically I'm really into that band, it's like, wow, I'm kind of surprised. It's like, oh, that's cool, man. Because like I said, that band was kind of born, like, you know, I had First Fragment going on, and, you know, doing the whole like that thing. But at the same time, a part of me was like, I'm kind of saturated by it at the same time. So I kind of wanted to do a death metal thing that didn't sound like Quebec death metal, you know. And that was another thing. That band was always kind of like the weird, deformed mutant side half brother of First Fragment, just lurking in the dark corner somewhere, you know.
I like
but
it.
Yeah, it's just so many years just playing with tons of people in different styles and different scenes. You know, it all comes back to we were talking about community at the beginning, you know, and it's amazing the bonds I form with different people and different styles in different countries too over time. And it's like that's the reason why I keep doing it. Keep doing bands with people all over. It's because I want to keep growing the part of a growing.
I just gained a new brother tonight in my community.
Yeah,
dude. Cheers, dude.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, hell
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know what you remind me of? It's funny because I'm sitting here looking at the Metal Archives, and you're basically the guitar version of Gabe Sieber. And like you're 29 years old, and I'm counting the bands like 1,
the
2,
list
3,
of
4,
bands?
5, 6, 7.
Hey, you're
8,
California,
9, 10, 11,
Californian,
12.
right?
Yeah.
I have a band for California, actually.
You have a band from California?
Yeah, called Void Ceremony.
I see it on here. Yeah.
They're from California, but it's a small world. But Gabe Sieber, man, he's sick. And you know what? Before we approached Troy, we actually approached Gabe, but Gabe had a lot of things going on at the time, so you know it didn't work out. But it would have been really cool to work together. But you know, I don't regret my choice because obviously Troy is the man, and he's the coolest. But Gabe, you know, I've met him a few times in real life. He's always been super cool and likes to joke around and stuff. And yeah, it is. But yeah, he's in so many bands. Like he play in like a bat.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's a crazy gig, man.
Yeah,
like seriously, props to him, man. It's like
there's a long story behind it. Actually, he did one of our earlier episodes, and we got him to talk about it. But he basically like he got flown out there. I think like there was another drummer playing or something, and he was just there like watching him, and then the drummer just like dropped off after a while. Then he just started playing shows with it was basically like kind of like a
short notice
situation
too.
Yeah, it was like last minute. Yep.
Yeah.
Only like a week or two or something.
And he learned the songs in like a week or some shit.
Of course he did, man. Of course he did.
That's
like,
what he does.
Crazy.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And then his like first show is just huge.
It's like that's what it is. Like the songs that he's gonna play are the only thing he listens to.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Nothing else.
Yep.
No choice.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Dude. That's how you have to do it. I mean, he knows what he's hearing. He just has to get all the changes down because he's known as the stand-in.
But you can be that type of dude and not be social. Like Gabe is still a social dude.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
he's a part of his community.
Found his balance to where he could totally just zone in on one thing.
That's a big part of his talent, not only being a good drummer, but like that's part of this like crazy part of him that's like a rad talent. Like I can just whatever, I can learn.
Yeah, he's like be a cool guy that you could travel with, and he's totally cool and like no one. I haven't heard. Someone. I forget where I heard someone like said something bad about him once. I'm like, who are you? Like I haven't heard anything bad ever about Gabe. Like I think he might have been joking.
Anybody
but
on
I was
a bad
like,
day.
Yeah, I was like, I think he might have been kidding or something, and I was like, dude, no one dislikes that guy. Like, that guy's just so nice, you know. It's like I don't know, he's talented, so it's got all of it going for him, you know.
I agree, man. I can't see why people would dislike him, but then again, there's always going to be that one person that dislikes you for something.
Catches you in the wrong window of time.
He also
he's
lucky he missed the SMN forums.
Good for him, man. But you know, like I said, it was positive sides, but good for him, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, he's I'm gonna maybe hang out with him tomorrow. I'm thinking about possibly going up there, but
really cool.
Yeah, no, he's just fucking sweetheart and love him. Love you, Gabe. You're probably hopefully gonna watch this.
Wait, you're going to Sacramento tomorrow?
There's I'm about 45% down. I told people.
Can I bump your percentage up because I'm going to be in Rockland this weekend, dude?
Oh shit! Well, I got to be back here Sunday for Shara's a thing that Cher is doing.
I'm coming back Sunday morning too, so
okay, maybe I'll just drive to Pacifica,
get to like 65% now.
yeah. It's pushing. It's probably more like 30, but
I just run it down.
No, totally.
All right.
So fuck yeah, man. So I mean, so like we said, I've literally counted 25 bands. I mean, is there any other bands that like are you doing anything that's coming forward? Is there any other projects? Because I mean, you're just a musical fountain. So, you know, I'm see all the stuff that you're doing. Is there any other bands that you're gonna maybe jam with or anything like that?
Yeah, it's just like everything's kind of slow motion. I'm gotta get back writing a new Catilas album. I had ideas for a solo album, which was gonna be total Shrapnel Records 80s kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
shreddy, but not overly shreddy, like really catchy stuff. But that's kind of I have some songs written, but I think I'm gonna focus my attention on like these two new projects I've been working on. You know, I left in Eternity's End beginning of the year. I'm gonna do my own power metal band here in Quebec with, you know, my friends. It's gonna be cool. I got some songs written already. And this other band also, which is just gonna be, you know, I'm a big doom metal fan. Like, but everything I've done so far is like extreme doom, like funeral doom. I want to make like a traditional epic doom kind of thing, like Candlemass, Solitude Eternus mixed with like some crazy solos and like, you know, crazy bass at the same time. So that's another thing I'm working on. Not death metal stuff, but I mean, I like just the problem is finding a vocalist for that kind of thing, you know.
That's a genre that I haven't really dove into other than like Dismemberment. That would be the one doom band that I would, or is it am I thinking
ringing a
bell?
Disembowelment.
Oh yeah.
Give it up for
one of the first really like extreme doom death bands.
Disembowelment.
Yeah,
those two, they only just like 2 records, right?
Yeah, well, they did like some demos, an EP, and an album. I think they disbanded after that one album, but yeah, they're one of the greats, man. Like I've always been into like, you know, Thurgaton from Finland.
Yeah, drop some names of some shit. If I'm into that, like I want some other bands too that can dig deeper into the doom realm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great band to like, you know, when you're listening to that Disembowelment band, you know, you'll find similar bands after that based on your preference of that. That's how doom metal came to me. It's like I found this one band that I really liked. Then I was looking for similar bands, and that was like, you know, I think the first doom metal album I really liked was the first Evoken album. But then I was like, I gotta go back. It's like, okay, Evoken were big Winter fans and being Turgaton fans and Skepticism fans, and it's like I discovered these bands, and then I went back further. It's like, okay, Winter were you know, all these bands were into other like traditional doom bands, like, so I discovered Candlemass, Solitude Eternus, Solstice, all these kind of bands. So it's like it's always that one band, you know, that kind of hooks you into everything else regardless of the style, you know. So Disembowelment, it's like that's a good point of entry, you know, if anything else into that genre. Even like sometimes you go on Metal Archives and you go just like in a similar artist tab for a band that you like, you'll find some surprises there. Like that's how I became like, you know, going back talking about the US scene. I really became fond many years ago about US power metal, especially the 80s generation, and just finding one band and like going through Metal Archives and just going through the old American scene and just finding these bands just because I was into that band. I was looking for something similar, and it just kind of opened a new world for me, a new like generation, a new scene, you know. And you could do the same thing, you know, if you're really like into this one particular band, even though you're not specifically into the genre, it kind of serves as a bridge to kind of just launch yourself into something, a new territory, and before you know it, you become addicted to this new genre, and you bring these influences into your band. It's like, dude, it's the best thing, man.
What trips me out about you, like, because you're like on the opposite spectrum of things. Like, you go from the ultimate, like, super shreddy, most insane amount of notes in 1 second that you can do to like Doom, which is like the least amount of notes
which you explained as painfully slow earlier.
Yeah. You go to painfully slow to painfully fast.
Yeah, my funeral doom band at Tremendous, the slowest tempo is like 45 BPM. It's really slow.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it's I think it's just, it's similar songwriting devices, the way I kind of structure things and, chord progressions and stuff, but it's kind of I guess a different emotion that I want to express requires a different a style to accompany it, but at the same time, First Fragment, that album we just did, it sounds very, obviously you look at the album cover and you listen to it, it's very like triumphant and epic and, intense, but there's a hidden darkness inside of it. Dave's father died during the recording. Nicholas, our drummer, his father died also during the recording. My grandfather died during the recording. There's a hidden layer of darkness inside of it. So there's always going to be contrast and everything. But I feel like some certain emotions, they need another vehicle, and I'm not going to be able to find that with just death metal or tech death. And Tremendous, or like any other band I do, or I'm sure you guys relate, when you write music, it has to come from a deep place, and sometimes it just comes out in another way, not fast stuff, that is. So Tremendous is like, it's just the album, like the concept is like a whole big ass story. I won't tell you everything, but it like fits with the story, and basically when you listen to it, it feels like you're cold. It's like, it reminds you of long Quebec winters, So you have to be like in that mood, so it's a different like setting, and I don't think I could achieve that atmosphere with First Fragment, because First Fragment is about, the music itself, not the lyrics. The lyrics are like a very epic, like fantasy story. Like Dave, like he writes all the lyrics for that band. It's like all like poems, like they're all like written, it rhymes, it's all in French. And he has this crazy story. He's gonna write a book, actually. He's gonna have a book, and the book is gonna have the album cover. Like, he has this epic thing going on, but nice. Like it's like really like cryptic poetry, in the sense that you can interpret the lyrics in many ways. And it works well with the music. He explains his emotions differently. While for me, it's more like a direct kind of way, more like a lyrical thing. You read the lyrics and you know exactly what's going on. And I don't think I could do that with First Fragment. So I just put that in another context somewhere else. And slow music is actually really challenging to play, man. Just want to put this out there. I know, like, when you used to play stuff at 260 BPM, it's like, oh, I got this, but like literally sitting and just playing 60, 50 BPM riffs, making sure like all the vibratos are right, and just like the intonation, it's like, it's actually as challenging. I'm not joking,
No, I believe
it's
you, dude.
like,
I totally get what you're saying. Like, you're taking it to, it's like a discipline.
Yeah. And coming back again to First Fragment, we can't actually cross streams on that 19-minute song. We actually went there and added a doom metal riff, just because it kind of ties like the entire, like, that song ties all the spectrum of music projects I've been involved with over the years. And it just kind of, it's like some of my bands, actually, the lyrical concepts are like tied to each other, like Tougas and Tremendous. The lyrical stories are like tied to each other. Like the bands have the same like stories. They're like based on the same fantasy universe, if that makes sense. It's like an extended lore or something. And I do that with music too. Sometimes I'm going to put references from my other bands in another band. Like Xerox, there's some Xerox riff that have direct references to First Fragment riffs, or Cthulhu's riff is going to have a little reference to a tremendous riff. It's like you kind of building a world, through trying to build a world, through these musical projects. And I just want to like expand it further, you just like explore other styles of music, like I said, have a power metal band and a trad doom band, and maybe I'd like to have a AOR band, like 80s melodic rock, emotional, like, big tom fills with tons of reverb on it, and why not? I like that kind of stuff too. But then it going back also to my main point is also the whole like community aspect of it. It just makes me be able to play with musicians all around the world and other different scenes. So it's I hope I can do that like forever, to be honest, like just have as many bands as possible and play with as many people as possible, and, and as many genres as possible,
And you being 29 and looking at the list of bands that you're already in, like imagine when you're fucking 40, like that
yeah, dude,
it's gonna be like, insane.
Yeah, I hope it will be insane. I hope I don't get burned out. It's easy sometimes, like I'm just feeling tired, and some bits during the recording of this new album I would go like, because I had to record the guitars like 3 times for different reasons. The first time is because like I didn't like how the guitars felt, and I went back and added a more personal touch to them, and like I was so burned out at nights. I was like, I don't want to like play and touch my guitar for like days, man. I'm sure you guys have all played in such amazing bands and crazy bands that you've probably felt the same at some point. I don't know about you, but I get the feeling that we've all been there, just we've poured so much energy, and sometimes it's so draining that you're like, you got to step away from everything just for a brief moment, Yeah, and that happens to me too, man. But at the end of the day, when the passion always comes back, and that's drives me. And you know what? One thing that really motivates me the most these days is giving lessons to people. Like I've always been like, I'm not good enough to teach people.
How do people get in touch with you for lessons?
They just message me. It's like, I want lessons from you. I'm like, okay, sure. Let's just set up a consultation. We'll see what you're looking for, what you want to improve on. And sometimes I get like musicians that are like as good as me, and like I got to challenge myself. I'm going to show you things you have never did before, and it's like it's a personal challenge, but at the same time I can help people discover new things, and just like diversify their approach. But I don't want to like change people fundamentally, just want to like help them go in the direction they want. But awesome. Like I said, it's super straightforward. Just people message me either from my website or email or Instagram or Facebook. It's just
what's your
it's very direct, URL? Pardon?
What's your website again? URL?
It's just like philtougas.ca,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's just like really.
So if you want a lesson, everyone, Phil can play, has like 7,000 solos in his head right now.
Yeah.
At this moment of this plug.
Yeah. He could play 7,000 different solos right now. He will. It's
always fun, man. It's always different with everyone. I run exercises with people, or show people some tapping mechanics, or even learn songs together. Sometimes I help them write riffs. They have a writer's block, and I come up with a riff that is relevant to the composition, and we I was like, oh, here's like 4 different variations of the same riff. Tell me which one you prefer. And they're like, I don't know, man. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just gonna tab them all, and you just choose like the variation you like the most, and
sick
shit like really nerdy shit like that. That's like really fun. I really like on days that I'm feeling a little bit down, then I have some lessons to do, and after that I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I needed.
Nice
work with. So that's
awesome, man.
Yeah, man. It's really cool. So I just
like do that. Keeps you going financially. It keeps you that's probably, we talk about merch and stuff like that in the beginning, but like if people are given lessons, that's money directly to the artists where they can survive and eat and stuff like that. That's why whenever someone says something about lessons, I'm like, fuck, we need to really because I took lessons one time. I was I was drunk in the beginning of the pandemic, and me and Greg were FaceTiming, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna buy 10 lessons right now," like all drunk. And I just bought 10, like not 10, maybe like 6 or something, and I bought lessons and just like I basically use it just to like pick his brain a little bit. And
did you go through all 6 of them?
No, I just said keep the money, man, because he's
so one burnt. Session, you're like, all right, dude, I'm out.
No, he's got so many people out there, and it was more like a donation because I knew he was struggling at the time, and he's going through some really hard stuff. And then I was just like, it's kind of just like to help one of my favorite artists out, just like, dude, like show me some stuff. And he gave me a bunch of cool exercises, and it's really hard to explain. I figured because I was like, whatever, like I'm showing up for a lesson, but I didn't know what I wanted to work on, like, so the hardest thing was like showing up to the lesson and being like, what do I need to work on? And I would show him things that I was doing with my mechanics that I thought was not correct and I wanted to work on. And he's like, actually, I like the way you do it better. I'm like, dude, that's not why I'm here. He's like, actually, I like because I can down pick super fast. And he was like, well, if you can down pick it, just do it. And I was like, no, but I need to work on like my alternate picking stuff and my hybrid picking, all this. I need to work on all the other stuff. But yeah, no, he definitely gave me, he saw he let me play for a little while, and he was like, all right, so here's, this, exercise and blah, blah. And it's like what you're doing. It's kind of morphing to like, someone showing up, because it's kind of intimidating in the beginning. Because I mean, I've known Greg forever, but like if I like that band Haken, like I really like that band Haken. It's like it's a newer prog band. And I like the way they approach things. And the guy was like, I hit him up. I was like, yeah, hit me up. Like, if you want to do lessons, I'm like, I'm totally down. And then he hit me up again. And I was like, I'm just too nervous. I don't know, like, what to ask you. I don't even know, like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I'm just I would pay and just play for me, and I'll record it for myself later. And I'll look at it by myself, like when I'm drunk, going like, fuck yeah, dude, that was sick. Yeah, that was the hardest part because these online lessons are becoming, obviously with the pandemic and stuff, it's more of a commonplace nowadays is doing it via
Which
Zoom
is cool,
or doing it.
I think
it's super cool because you can meet up with your favorite musicians and be like,
access.
I'll pick my favorite one that I love. I'm listening to this album right now. I'm listening to Alluvial right now. I'm gonna hit up Wes, or I'm gonna listen to I'm gonna hit up these people and just be like, and let's first Fragment. And I love the solo. I'm gonna fucking just hit up Phil, and Phil will be like, fuck yeah, let's jam. And it's really brought everyone together in such a cool way. It's just really, to me, it when it came to me to actually do it, I was like, just kind of like froze, like, shit, this is too easy access. Like, I'm just sitting in front of like one of my favorite guitar players. I'm like, oh shit, now he's gonna watch me play. Fuck this. I don't want to.
It's funny because I started getting lessons again myself too, and I'm still gonna continue getting lessons on my side too, because there's always like room for improvement. And it's just, you never ending. Stop improve, man. And honestly, I think I know exactly. There's a lot of people I've played with over the years that I actually want to get lessons from, but like other people out there that actually, what I'm thinking to do is probably get lessons from people. Like, I'm really like, my zone of comfort is like the whole like 80s shred worship, whammy bar feel and like wide vibrato and old school shred techniques. But I want to hit a really badass, like more modern prog shredder and gain more of that, just add to that, like that newer modern approach to what I do, and just like step out of my comfort zone. That's probably what I'm gonna do soon, man.
I'm noticing like more of the newer people are doing more of the, like, it's more rhythmic oriented, like more odd time signatures. It's like it's getting like really weird with just rhythms and stuff is where people are taking it. I'm noticing, because it went from like the shred to that.
Yeah. So it's like I'm pretty much. It's funny because I give lessons to people all the time, but I kind of understand where you're coming from, the whole being intimidated thing, because I was always being myself. I've always been deep down of kind of I can be like very outgoing, but sometimes I can be kind of shy. So it's kind of constant battle between the two. And when I first started getting lessons again, I was feeling that way, the exact same way too. But then I had a really good coach. I was self-taught most of my life. I had some lessons from a fantastic teacher, Jean-François Jarry. I owe him he basically taught me how to be passionate about guitar. He didn't teach me like how to solo or just like all the stuff that I do today, but he taught me how to be passionate and go into my own thing, do my own thing, you know. Yeah. But later on, I decided I needed more lessons. I need somebody that's going to coach me to improve certain things. And that you realize that you got to put your ego aside, you know, because you're not going to be able to do everything yourself. I mean, tabs and YouTube videos are great. They're fantastic, but you need somebody that shows you the ideology behind it, you know?
Yeah. So, you know, what actually was always for me is still the same thing, where I'm way more nervous one-on-one with someone than I am playing in front of like 1,000 people. I'm way more like when you're one-on-one with someone sitting at like staring at like what you're doing.
Dude,
and
I can't
that's
do
like
it.
Something about like I start like freezing up. Like even my best friend Carrie, we're jamming together, and like he'll come over here and I'm just like, it's my best friend, and I'm like still like I get like shaky. I'm like, oh, like he's my most comfortable human that I know, and I still like when it's one-on-one, there's just a pair of eyes, and I know because I know what he's thinking. I know everything because we grew up together playing guitar, so I know what he's thinking. I know if I whiff on something, he's going like, oh, you fucked that up.
Well, yeah. So, but he's telling you though.
He's not. No, he doesn't tell me. Like,
that's when the best friend. Oh,
no,
so
he
he's
knows,
hiding it. He's hiding it.
No. He knows if I fuck something up that I know too. Like it's not like
he doesn't have to talk to you if he knows you know.
And we always talked about it like with Casey and stuff like back like in the Odious days and shit. Like when it's a bad habit that I formed, but with Dan and stuff when I was playing guitar or when I was playing bass, whatever. Me and Dan had this kind of sense of humor about fucking up. We thought it was pretty funny. Like when someone fucked up, we thought it was like kind of hilarious. Like, you fucked up. It's funny. Like, I don't know. It's something about like, cause you just hear it. You're like, what are you doing, dude? And like, you give this like look to each other and be smiling. Like, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, it would just make us start laughing. Yeah. And then we start like turning in these like laughing fits. Like, cause we just whiff like things that we knew we could hit. And we were just like, what the fuck was that? You know? And it was actually like, literally it would get us in like laughing fits where we'd have to take a break from practice because we'd be laughing so hard at like the fuck ups, like because we thought it was hilarious. We were just like, what I've brought up probably 10 times on here, but I'm now drunk again. But where his idea was to have the lighting up X on your guitar, so like a red X that lights up every time you miss a note. And just on your guitar.
Holy shit.
So every time you miss a note, like so like you're just so my idea just my thought of it was like we're playing and you just see like some flashing in the left hand corner, like in your peripheral
like
vision.
Morse code.
It's just going on. That would just get me. I would just start laughing if that happened though. But that's that was like our inside joke was like, dude, we got to get like one of those like family feud X's like on your guitar, like if you miss a note or something, or come in late or come in early, like I don't know.
You know, I relate to that so much. And here's the thing: when you're playing in front of so many people, you know, you get to the point that you know you do mistakes, but you're making them sound cool. You know?
Yeah.
I do a shit ton of mistakes when I play live, but I'm like, oh wow, I did a shit ton of mistakes, and people are like, I didn't hear you play mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah.
You know, it's like okay, it's okay, whatever. I mean, it's no excuse to slack off, but at the same time, it's like, you know, there's a way to kind of just. Sometimes we're overthinking too much, and I guess when you're playing in front of just one person, you're kind of overthinking a lot more than when you're playing a show. So I can relate to that, you know.
Yeah, there'd be times where we like almost pretty much train wreck, and we're like, it's just a madhouse of sounds and sonic ridiculousness going around. But and we get off stage and people would be like, you guys almost train wreck? Like, yeah, we weren't together for like a quarter of the song, but we got back on. But like, just the people don't really like. I mean, it's such a sonic assault live, you know. It's so. And I still think like there's so much work sonically to be done to like perfect a death metal live show. Because sometimes
not only that, you're like in this zone, like as a fan, and I'm going to a show, and you're stoked about it. It's like when things are there's so many things happening, even on the floor too. If you're moshing or whatever. It's
there's
like
that drunk guy over there. There's someone that's over like, yeah.
And you know how like our eyes correct things so it can our brains can accept the information correctly. Like it could be the same thing with your ears too, dude. You know,
with you other songs and you just hear it, even if there's a mistake, you still hear it.
You hear fucking name a suffocation song that we all know. Like you've heard it so many times. Like you may not catch fucking somebody flub if you're moshing to that song in a live setting. It's gonna be like kind of like going through a filter, you know?
Yeah.
And that's even like more iconic. Like that's even something where we like know there is dun, 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 you know. But like when it's like blazing fast, like all over the place, like those. We used to make jokes about the minor second harmonies. I don't want to get into that, but like it's like when you're off like half step or whatever. It's like those sick minor seconds. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Just going for it. Like I did that on purpose, dude. Yeah, you don't know Ornette Coleman, man? Fuck, I'm doing that on purpose, bro.
Yeah. One time I did a show in Mexico, and it was in a kind of a courtyard thing, and it was right next to a train track. No rooftop, and we started playing the first song, and we're not tight, man. I'm like, but then a train comes, and like the train is so loud it just covers the whole band. Like there's a train like right next to the stage, just like passing by super slow, and it covers all our mistakes. And people were like, yeah, because like the train is like, doing the
horn,
like throwing the horn, and the guy comes out of the locomotive. It's like, yeah, like the train,
really?
Train is going on, and it's like we can't hear anything anymore. It's like good, like people want to hear the mistakes.
Yeah.
That was so sick, dude. That was like one of the that was like one of the funniest live.
That's
things.
So funny.
Like, yeah,
dude, I live like a block and a half away from the train tracks over here on the coast, and I'll be like working on like music and stuff, and it's just like when that happens, like I just have to stop everything. Just wait till the train passes because I can't hear like anything that's going on. Luckily, they don't come at this time of night, so it's like
at least
the podcast I'd be like, wait, shit, what? But in the morning and like during the day, but it's I don't mind it, but it's pretty funny. Yeah.
Speaking of minor seconds, I just transcribed an old Kano song that I'm rewriting or I guess just transcribing, and it has all these minor second sweeps. like
crazy.
Both guitars playing the sweeps, but one is a minor second up from the other one, and it's just the like evilest, sickest thing ever. So I'm all about that
cool.
shit.
I want to hear that. That's sick.
I remember I was one of those guys. I was like, no, you can't do that. Like when we were actually doing it in the band back in the day, but now it's like I'm reviving the project, and I'm like, fuck yes, I'm so stoked on that. Yeah.
So what are you listening to old recordings and transcribing by ear?
I don't really need to listen to them, to be honest. I remember them all. Like
no shit.
I've been really wanting to do this project, and I've kept it close in the front of my mind.
And how old is the project now?
This is the project with Riley and our other friends.
Yeah, I know. But how old?
2009, 2010.
Dude, and that's still fresh in the brain.
Well, I mean, there's not that many songs, so yeah, I mean, I've picked them up over the years, but some of the details I don't remember quite. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just I guess plugging myself. Yeah, I'm working on this Kanos project, and I'll try to get Riley to do it with me when we get closer to finishing. But for now, it's just me. And you know how it is, the guitar pro, the struggle, just writing all the parts, all the bass, all the drums, all the two guitars. So it takes a while, and it's not my main band, but who would I be complaining about being overworked by different bands on this particular episode? So
what's Riley's last name?
McShane.
Riley's fucking awesome. He's super versatile too.
Yeah, for sure.
He's really like,
Did you see that he just posted that he's doing the zombie voices for that game, the Resident Evil game?
Yeah. Or vocalist is doing that too, actually.
Oh, really? Yours is too?
Yeah.
Oh, did I miss that?
Man.
Sorry. That's so sick, dude.
That's something that I thought that maybe we might stumble across, but also Cheney's I think it's Jill is her character's name.
When are you gonna do a video game, dude?
Okay.
I'd love to do that one time.
I'd love to. I'd love to voice some shit.
Like Well, I don't think I could do zombie sounds, but like weird, like
hey, dude,
the Cthulhu like.
Sounds like all my homies are working on some
good.
shit, and maybe I can get on the next one. Dude.
Oh shit, dude, that was sick.
Like that kind of weird shit,
Do that one more time. We didn't pick it up on the.
Oh, sorry, dude. I talked over it.
That's the Cthulhu rattle. It's like there's a bunch of that and that.
It starts off, and then I think the. It's funny. The
Zoom's cutting it off, dude.
The frequency gets cut off, but it's like it starts off. I can hear the beginning of it, then it just goes like the.
Yes,
and just like the snort one, like the tongue thing. There's like a bunch of like I'd like to do like video game sounds one day, but it's like maybe Riley's on another level. I think he's really versatile.
Michael, I wanted to just plug Michael Alvarez from Flub.
Oh yeah,
is trying to get into that, and if you watch his like demo videos, he can do some insane vocals.
Yeah, totally.
It makes perfect sense. Also, crazy. Tim from Paroxysmal Butchering, I think, has done a bit of that voice acting stuff. So
nice, dude. That's so
yeah, that's rad though. Like that's you on the Chitelis vocals. That's so sick. I gotta listen to that shit again.
yeah, do it. It's alien. If you're like into like that kind of thing, like alien type vocals, it's definitely that.
Well, Doom, they started with Doom was the first one they had death metal vocalists come on for that last Doom game.
The game.
I think it's sort of like
that makes sense.
Yeah, they like
that makes
for the
sense.
zombies or whatever they are. Like they had, I forget who did it, but there was some death metal vocalists they recruited for that, and I think Resident Evil just took a page from that.
What's the Will Smith movie that he was it was him and his dog and it was zombies?
Was that the Book of Eli? Or no, that was
I Am Legend.
Oh, I Am Legend. Yeah, that was
all the zombies in that movie is Mike Patton.
Oh, really?
Really? Yeah. Holy shit!
I didn't know
all of them.
Sick, dude.
Damn.
Oh, cool, man.
Mike Patton is the voice of all the zombies in that movie.
Damn, that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's fucking rad.
That's sick. That'd be a great day at work. You're like, all right, going into the office, just gotta zombie it out today.
So Travis Ryan didn't do anything. It seems like he kind of like started.
He'd be so good at that, dude.
I know.
He'd be like,
I bet he got that offered because I mean, because
he did something else. He just posted some video or footage, pictures where he was in the studio with like the guy who's like the fastest talker in the world. Who did like the Michael Jackson song.
Oh
like,
yeah, the Beat It thing.
Yeah, the Beat It guy. He was like there with him and in a studio, so he must have just gotten picked for something, but he didn't reveal what it was yet. So
well, I'm sure it's gonna be cool. That's
damn,
dude.
And shout out because we brought up Cheney because I actually just gave her a text about it, but she that one video she posted of her doing like some vocals and shit for the new album. That thing it's at 2 million views in 1.5 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah.
Whoa,
yeah.
That's insane.
Sick.
Insane amount of reach, man. That's so
She's
cool.
I know. I'm just like,
incredible.
I mean,
nice.
Awesome. I remember watching because I remember like just got posted when I watched it, and I messaged her right away. I'm like, Jesus, man, like you're like I can actually feel like her.
Let's throw her to the top
anger.
of the list as best fucking female metal vocalist right now, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
she crushes me
for sure. I mean,
you're female, yeah.
Yeah, she crushes me as a male. I'm reaching for cans. No. They're all empty, dude.
No, shout out to them. They're with that album coming out on Metal Blade. I think that's going to really push them over the top and give them the exposure. Because Naveen, obviously one of the best drummers in the world, and with his style and what he's gotten. He's pushing out a bunch of content too, and I know the word that everyone hates content, but he's pushing it out like crazy. Just he has a formula where he's going to put a song up or like him jamming every week or something, and every time I watch it, it's him doing something different,
and it's fun.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. They're as far as like dealing with the internet and stuff, like they're very intelligent about like and calculated on how they put stuff out. So. And this next album's, I think, getting close to done. So stoked to go over there and check it out. I already heard half of it is fucking awesome. So just Naveen's got his own style of playing guitar. It's definitely, I don't think anyone plays like him really. It's a different style. Like it's completely rhythmic to his drums, because he's recording the drums too. So it's like he's got this link with himself on how he's going to jam to things. And I don't know why I'm going off this rant. I think it's the alcohol. But no, I'm stoked on what they're doing, and shout out to fucking Cheney for being 2 million in 2 weeks. Fucking
that is fucking crazy.
And I know. voicing
awesome.
a main character in a Resident Evil video game.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's a good week. That's a good week.
Yeah,
good week.
Good week. Yeah,
they're fucking killing it, dude.
That's a fun week. Yeah, that's definitely awesome.
Well, should we wrap this one up, guys?
Yeah, I think we're pushing 3 right now. We probably gotta do
already
wrap-a-roo. I know, right?
Put it in a Tupperware, and we got to put this episode in the in the refrigerator. Microwave. Well, not yet. Tomorrow.
We'll microwave it on Thursday.
Tomorrow we'll microwave that up, dude.
yeah. Fuck yeah, man. Well, Phil, dude, I'm super glad. I'm glad you responded so happily to come on, and I was super stoked when you said yes, and got a lot of fucking insight of. You probably touched a third of it because you're doing so many things, and you're such a crazy musical fountain, like I said earlier, just stuff just coming out of your brain constantly. But I really appreciate you coming on, man. It means a lot to us, and I've been listening to you for a long time. I can't wait to hear the new album.
Thanks, man. Well, it's an honor. I hope you like the new album. It's got a little bit of everything for everyone, despite its really specific like subgenre. It has its own niche, but at the same time, there's like for example, the single we just did is super shreddy neoclassical, and the second one we're gonna do is actually the last neoclassical song on the album. Has like a lot of swing grooves. So people looking into like more into like that type of thing, like bouncy kind of thing, but without like I said, I was talking about reggae and Joy Tafola and like that kind of swing thing that
we're talking about, like that dink dink jacka dink.
Yeah, Tripalium and Gorod did that.
Oh, too. Tripalium. Yeah.
Like that. Are they from
Canada?
Pardon?
Are they from Canada? Tripalium?
Oh, they're from France.
France. Okay.
Yeah, France. But so I mean, like I said, it says a specific thing, but at the same time, I think it has a little bit of it for everyone. Don't expect it to be praised by everyone, but I mean, it's definitely the most intense thing we've ever done, and hope you guys enjoy it. And like I said, I don't have anything else to plug really. Like I said, I'm just working on things at my own pace, and whatever comes out, it just comes out when it does. And but dude, it was, like I said, it was an honor to be interviewed by you guys. I've been listening to your bands since the 2000s, so it's a really cool thing, man.
Right on, dude.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
for that, no doubt, and thank you for your time. Like, this was super cool. It's late for you right now, isn't it? Huh? What time is it right now?
It's like
1:08.
1. No, it's not a problem. Like, I usually go to sleep like an hour later.
Well, thanks for
cool.
Thanks for dealing.
Thanks for dealing.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
Well, cool. We'll wrapping up 38, guys. Thanks to all the subscribers. Thanks to everybody who watched this who isn't a subscriber. But please, if you haven't subscribed, just subscribe and do all the notifications, buttons, all the lovely shit. CaliDeath.com. Joseph, what's up, brother? We got something coming soon.
Blog post for the new episode.
Nice, dude. So blog posts over at CaliDeath.com, Instagram, Facebook, all that shit. We'll be here next week, guys. Have an awesome time. We'll see you soon.